Hello to whoever is watching, this is Legendary Hobbyist here, and today I'll be building Zigok, a high-grade Zigok, and to me this is a pretty special build, because around 2 years ago I built the SD version, and to me it signifies that I've gotten better, and it's a nice kind of memento for moving forward. Also, it's nice continuity for the channel.
You're more worried about him being gay than anybody else, man. Like, I think you're more worried about him being gay than the guy he fucks, his husband.
In 30 days, Eric July has made roughly 62 videos. I'm not including live streams. These are just videos. 24 of those 62 videos, the topic of the video was either specifically gay, trans, anti-queer, diversity, like that umbrella. That's a little bit over 40%. We're talking about coming up on half of the percentage of content he puts out is exclusively made as anti-queer content. He said at the beginning of the year, as a business person, he was going to focus on his company and his brand. How many videos do you think in the last 30 days on his channel actually focused on Ripaverse exclusively? 6. 6 out of 62 videos actually focused exclusively on Ripaverse. That's less than 10% of the videos in the last 30 days.
This is Center of the Universe, a show for us rational thinkers who sit firmly in the middle of the political spectrum and never budge, regardless how the Overton window shifts. I'm Grogu Fleck. Why did they cut the song like that? Got the music guy over here edging me with the greatest animated series intro of all time. Holy fuck. I'm gonna be all aggro with this woke garbage man, bursting at the seams. Okay, yeah, okay. I'm realizing now that he heard all that. Oops. So I'm here with one pillar of garbage who is apparently self-aware enough to know his worth and brand himself properly. Do you mind if I call you Garbage?
Yeah, go for it.
Cool. I suppose I should speak the language of your cult and ask, what are your preferred pronouns, Garbage?
Personally, I'm more Cyclops than I am Morph, so I'm just he, him.
Wow, he fell for it. You guys hear that? He fell. You actually told me your pronouns. See, this is what is wrong with the left. It's insane. I mean, like, those are my pronouns too, but, excuse me. Well, it's good to have you on. You certainly make a habit of pissing off some good friends of mine. In fact, you really ruffled feathers with my homies in your recent X-Men 97 video, Woke X-Men and the Web of Grifter Media. Honestly, I'm surprised you even showed up here, after being exposed for misinformation.
Oh yeah, misinformation. Do tell.
Lol.
Did you just
You said the X-Men team first appearing in Giant Size X-Men #1 was assembled by writer Chris Claremont. But Claremont didn't start writing the team until one issue later, with X-Men number 94. Lynn Wein was the writer who brought together that classic lineup.
Did you say lol?
Oh, wow. Okay, listen up, Garbage Man. No bad faith allowed here, okay, bucko? Mahler said you're bad faith in hour 5 of his response to an 8-year-old who said that EFAP are buttsuckers, but man, trying to distract from my point, trying to shame me about a tangential thing so people think I'm some kind of fucking dipshit and dismiss everything else that I say. Man, like always, Mahler was right.
Yeah,
You've done well so far, but up until now, I've only been using a mere 5% of my power. Now let's see how well you fare against my Biden blast!
That freak! I can't even pick myself up, and we haven't even put a dent in him.
Ba-na-na-na-na-na. Ba-na-na-na-na-na. Ba-na-na-na-na-na.
You know, I could talk about why I don't like anti-fandom, but I'd rather talk about why I like the term anti-fandom, because I think it's a really good term. Anti-fandom, this movement, isn't about fandom or the media. It's about power, it's about brotherhood and ganging up. It's about feeling like you know some big secret, like you're the little guy taking on the big, shadowy, leftist, woke powers. At the end of the day, it's make-believe, it's playing pretend for adults, or, you know, man-children. Despite what any of them say, it isn't about fandom. It's contrary to the definition of fandom, which is basically liking things together as a community. The end result of all this is just a vortex of hate and misery, and it's all revolving around this missing center where the media or the community or the liking should be, and it just isn't.
Oh, she's so, it's the stunning and brave. Oh my God.
Welcome to every video we make. We use one little thing and then we build the narrative out of it.
Other people besides white dudes, like Star Wars. I'm just saying, we need to be conscious of our bias.
I talked about this one thing and we make a whole video out of it. That's what we do.
Weird.
You are the real superhero.
Well, I'm built like a goddamn brick.
Is he some sort of masochist?
How do you do, fellow kids?
You did something very interesting with Star Wars. Think about it. The good guys are the rebels. They're using asymmetric warfare against a highly organized empire. I think we call those guys terrorists. Were you thinking of that at the time?
Force cannon sight!
And the same goes with Miles Morales. He is indeed, again, Miles Morales. He's also a Spider-Man.
I really dislike the fake geek thing and the poser nerd thing. That's not what we're about.
Like, I don't get offended by shit.
Every fucking conceivable opportunity so you can burn through.
The Fandom Initiative is a group of people on a mission to counter anti-woke sentiment on YouTube.
Right, you fuckers.
We are passionate fans of film, TV, comics, and video games. We'd love to make YouTube videos about the things we enjoy, but the culture of YouTube fandom makes this impossible, thanks to certain networks and clusters of content creators who depend on outrage, deception, and harassment to drive clicks and bring in revenue. The YouTube algorithm pushes harmful content to fans who are at risk of indoctrination by consuming repetitive right-wing rage bait videos.
Damn, dude. Yes.
Some people would like to think that like you can be like 100% objective when watching something. Like remove your bias and just critique it like the truth. You can't.
So like, what is fucking bringing all these guys together other than like, I'm mad at fucking Brie Larson?
What? If I can't be a misogynist to you, I don't know what to do with you.
I oftentimes get called a shit.
Fuck it, man. Don't be worried about that shit.
But here's the thing. My picture is not on the wall in the lobby of Marvel Studios.
More and more people are fed up with that toxic content and culture.
Honestly, it makes us sound really cool.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Whoa! What's that? Oh, that's a shit. Why don't you go and subscribe to it? I dare you. I fucking dare you.
Got it. Get it. Got it. Good.
Hello. Hey. We're here to browbeat some Christians.
Hello.
That's what we do. Not Bob though. Fuck Bob. He didn't show up today. So you know.
Yeah, Bob didn't want to be here.
That's fine. That's fine. It's not like I wanted to see his face today. You know what I'm saying? Ah, shit. Damn it. How's it going, everybody?
Guys, X-Men 97 is woke.
Whoa.
All the women need to be drawn with one hand. I'm offended that they aren't.
X-Men are woke? That's news to me.
Yes.
I don't like
They're
it.
using it to represent struggle with minorities, and I know. Since when did X-Men become woke?
I mean, I think that maybe like these. It's been the last few years. These activist writers and strange women did it.
Yeah.
You know.
It probably started with Ghostbusters 2016. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah, hell yeah, instant sub. I mean, and if you're not instant subbed to all the channels in the initiative, then like you should be. Except it wouldn't be an instant sub if you've been around a while, but still sub, please sub. Yeah, you should welcome and thank you. Glad to have you here. There's several channels. We all do this independently as well, and you can find us independently doing independently things. But it's all generally in the same direction. And
we're quite independent.
Yeah,
we are independent, except when Dane tells us to do something.
I know.
Whenever I'm fucking pulling,
Yeah.
We haven't had that narrative in a while, so let's bring that one back.
Yeah, bring back the classics. Do a greatest hits sometime.
Man, they will just throw anything at the wall. Like now, how they're doing the well, now George Lucas is bad again. You remember when George Lucas was bad, but it was like because he was just making bad movies. You remember?
Yeah.
Like that was.
You know what I was going through? I was putting together a stream video, like entry streamy thing, like you do beginning here, like a 10-minute thing for my live streams. And as I was going through and pulling up clips to put in there, I remember. Do you remember that the Star Wars I Used to Know video, like the parody of someone I used to know? Do you remember that?
I ever saw that.
Yeah.
Okay, so anyway, about I think
Yes,
it was like
I
what
remember
9 years ago. They did a parody of this popular song. And they were making fun of the prequels because everybody thought the prequels sucked. Remember, it was like this era where the
I
prequels
thought it was pretty funny at the time. Yeah.
Yeah. So they made this parody song about that, and I went and I'm like, God, how quickly they just fucking forget shit. Like there was a big period of time where people just trashed the prequels for years and years and years.
There's
and
a
then
whole
all of a
movie.
sudden, you know, yeah,
there's a documentary, The People versus George Lucas, where it's like all about how angry fans were at him about the way the property had gone. It's
a lot of Star Wars fans really have the memories of Goldfish.
Yeah.
About everything. Like, of course, there's this new George Lucas thing we'll get to, but I remember even a couple months ago, there was the whole Star Wars theory, Mark Hamill thing, where a lot of the Star Wars fans just turned on Mark Hamill because he didn't like.
That's it. Yeah.
Like he didn't like Star Wars theories. What's it called? Like AI video, where you
11 years ago. It's even older than I thought. I thought it was like 9. It's like 11 years ago.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, it's bizarre that they will use anybody like that they can. I mean, they generally there's certain folks that have hated Luke Skywalker, Mark Hamill for quite a while because he's outspoken politically and not in the way that they wish he was.
Yeah.
They will listen to everything he says about like how he at first didn't like how he was doing Last Jedi, then ignore all the actual stuff where he explains that he liked it in the end, how it came around, and then ignore his political position. So it's almost like they're cherry picking.
You know what's funny? I
never do that.
This is might be a hot take, but how many times do their idols have to betray them before they realize maybe this shit wasn't all they thought it was? Like this isn't all the things that they thought it was. Like if the people that you idolize come out eventually, they're like, hey, by the way, we don't like this awful shit that people are doing, and then you're like, oh fuck, I thought they hated black people too. It's like no, they don't hate black people.
Yeah.
Like, where did you get that from? You know what I mean?
I work with a lot of black people and minorities and women.
Well, that's the question I really ask myself when it comes to Star Wars theory and a lot of his fan base, because they've for years used Mark Hamill as a main argument against The Last Jedi and the sequels, doing the whole Mark Hamill didn't agree with Luke Skywalker's character, so
Right.
that's why it's bad and stuff. And then just instantly they just turned on him, and it's like, well, who do you have left? Like, you didn't even have Mark Hamill to begin with. He was never on your side to begin with, but you thought he was. And it's like, they're just losing people on
Carrie
their
was
side.
a huge feminist. Like, there was a lot of articles about her talking about like pro-feminism stuff. So it wasn't her either.
And so what is the woke radical leftist thing that George Lucas has done now to earn their ire? It's
Do you think it was the original trilogy and his themes of rebellion and the like showing the US as the empire?
Star Wars wasn't political until they cast a woman in the lead.
Oh, that's true. George Lucas has not been political until this moment. George Lucas has only now discovered politics, and he chose wrong.
Right. Yeah.
Yes.
That's true.
No, he didn't direct them, but he damn sure wrote them. And that's where the problem should come in if they were consistent. But
well, I mean, he directed episodes 4 and then 1 through 3.
One. Wait, he directed 2 and 3 too?
I thought
well, I mean, the prequels. He did all the prequels, and then he did episode 4
really?
A New Hope. Yeah.
Oh, for some reason I had it in my mind that it was just like the original trilogy where he directed the first one and then like it's like, okay, I don't want to do this anymore. Here, you do it, or something. But
he directed all the prequels, which is a kind of a criticism I have of him because he hadn't been directing a whole lot, and I feel like he didn't really evolve as a director in that time frame.
Yeah, he really didn't. Yeah, he's a good idea guy, I think. Lucas is an idea man.
Great idea guy, yeah.
Incredible.
Star Wars theory literally worships Anakin Skywalker. I think he's the best character in Star Wars. Really? I think
there's a very big difference between thinking he's the best character in the Star Wars, which is that's an opinion to have, right? And is fair enough. But to idolize Anakin Skywalker, that's a whole nother thing.
Yeah.
That's kind of worrying.
Look, here comes this guy. His thing is, hey, I was 17 watching. There's only 17 people watching.
He must be in my stream. Hey, dude, make sure to hit like and subscribe.
Yeah, and then go to the other channels that we're on where other people are watching. Hit like and subscribe on those too.
Yeah.
By the way, hi, subscribe if you whatever channel you're on. Do it. Doing the bull dance, feeling the flow, working it.
I've always been kind of worried about the whole. Sorry to cut you off, Dan.
No, please.
With the whole idolizing the characters you're not supposed to idolize. I feel like I really liked the Joker as a character, but if I told anyone that I idolize him, I feel like
this brings up.
That's kind of yeah. That's at least yellow.
I got an email from somebody that was trying to get me. You guys have probably gotten these too. Every once in a while, somebody will send an email hey, you should cover this guy because he says this dumb shit or whatever.
Yeah, I get that. I get comments like that too. Actually.
Yeah, I'm getting those. Yeah.
And well, this person, they seem well intentioned and everything, and they're just like, look, this guy, and he's talking about, they're talking about Archcast is who we should cover. Is that his name, Archcast? The kind of
I got the same email. Yes.
Okay. So did they talk about Man in the High Castle?
Yes.
Because he was like, look, he says he really likes this character. I forget the guy's name, but it's a Nazi character played by what's his name? And he's like, he really likes that character, Rufus Hill. And I was like, look, I agree with him. That's a fucking great case. Probably the most compelling character in the fucking show. But he's a Nazi, you know what I mean? But that's not the same thing as saying that oh, I agree with this fucking character's worldview. It's just that the position he's in, the acting, the writing, everything around that character is probably the most compelling part of the show to me. So you got to understand there's a difference between liking a character and then agreeing with I'm a Nazi too because I love this character.
I want to do everything this character does.
I feel like a lot of people are just naturally drawn towards evil characters in terms of interest and intrigue and the characters that are complex and show sides that in real life we would hate these people, right? And never want to give them any attention, right? But it's intriguing to see nuance and maybe sometimes very evil characters be portrayed on screen. But yeah, if anyone sees them as their heroes or idols, that's just kind of.
I mean, it kind of reminds me of like Valentine's Day when people talk about like Joker and Harley Quinn, and I'm like, that's not a relationship you should be like thinking about on Valentine's Day.
Like that's a fun Halloween costume,
right? I mean, like yeah, people are like love is forever, and you see Joker kissing Harley, and I'm like, no, like we're not. That's not what that is.
What is it like? You know, she
love
was
you
his
even if I
queen,
was
and
insane.
he was crazy as her, but twice as whatever.
Right,
Like this
yeah,
cringe ass
exactly.
shit. Thanks, man. I appreciate that.
Relationship goals. Hashtag relationship goals. I'm like, no, they're not.
Well, you know what? Props to DC because, like, you know, years ago they were like, yeah, we got to kind of not condone this shit anymore, and they really haven't had them together since then. You know, I mean, they have their complicated, you know, former lovers relationship, but she generally stuck with the whole that's a really unhealthy situation to be in, and I'm not going back to it.
Yeah, she's kind of in the anti-hero camp for a while now. So, but yeah, it's kind of interesting. Honestly, I think Poison Ivy's better for her. Well, I think that's pretty definitive. I don't even think that's a hot take, but yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I maybe don't know too much about like the comics, but is like has there ever been like feelings from Joker's side, like actual? Because I've in many iterations, I feel like it's often Harley who is very devoted to Joker, and he kind of sees the opportunity there. Like I'm sure he likes having her around and stuff, but it's like he just knows that he can use her for his ultimate goal because she is so devoted to him.
It's he's essentially like narcissistic abuse cycle is what Joker's all about. Well, I mean, I wouldn't say that just because like that's not a word I want to use, man. That's weird. But I mean, we looked at. I mean, even if we were going to say that word, I don't think it applies because we didn't like go through it. You know, we just kind of looked at the first few claims he made, and then
you didn't do a 12-hour stream on it.
Yeah. But you know, not great takes, man. Just generally pretty bad and nothing there. Kind of thin and kind of reaching pretty far. Anyway,
yeah, but like when it comes to Joker and Harley, it's not even that like they're two evil characters who genuinely do have love for each other, right? And like there's something there where it's like a genuine relationship. It's like they are evil characters, and then there's also a really toxic relationship.
Yes.
But yeah, I just think in general people need to get better at finding like the difference between being intrigued by characters and idolizing them and getting like the wrong relationships with them.
Yeah, it's like Alan Moore's talked about before, like whenever he used to, you know, go to cons and stuff, and people would come up like, oh, you know, Rorschach's the best character. He's a great superhero or whatever. And he's like, whoa, get the fuck away from me.
Yeah.
Because Rorschach ain't good. He ain't good.
Yeah, he's like, dude, you like him? I don't. Yeah.
Also, that was a lovely message we just saw.
It was, yeah. Look at that. That's fucking good shit. That's the shit we live for right here.
Yeah, it's always nice to hear this from people who have been positively affected by our videos. It will never not, at least to me, it'll never not motivate me to want to make more.
Instead of all the people we negatively affect, like all the time, it's so many.
All the hundreds of thousands of people who found the Critical Drinkers videos because of me, and they tell me in my comments every day.
I've been trying to get a lot of people to support him, you know, because I think he's just great.
Like, ha ha ha, joke's on you. Yes. I never would have found him if not for you. And it's like, sure. Go onto your channel. You're subscribed to all of them. You're subscribed to that entire
group.
You
had no idea who he was. Yes.
So Tony, I mean, I think what you're going to find is like generally that you, because you start with a conclusion, everything that you see past that is going to support the conclusion in your mind. And like we were looking for, as people who like, you know, we're looking for evidence of any of the stuff that's being claimed that these 16 employees of this, you know, little company have had such a fucking dramatic effect on the entire games industry, or that they've actually even consistently made games bad or fail, which doesn't seem to be the case with the handful of games that they have worked on, or that they even do the stuff that it's being claimed that they do. You know, we just don't see evidence of that. So I mean, if you're that's pretty much what the video says. So, anyway.
Madness.
What do you guys? think of Cinema Wins video. I used to watch them a long time ago, but that was like before I found other, I guess, more
Cinema
stuff.
Wins? Is that like Cinema Sins, or is it
It's a response to it. Yeah,
it's
it's like
okay.
It's a better version of Cinema Sins, honestly. Because
all right, I've never heard of it. I might have to go check it out.
A bit desperate.
Is it
Like,
chuddy
used to be
though? Is it
kind of
like a
fun,
chud?
but yeah.
No, it is generally just like
Well, neither one I'd say is chuddy.
Like everything that they like about a movie.
Okay, got it.
Yeah,
and basically
that
like,
sounds
no,
exciting.
I'd say
no
Cinema Wins is
negatives.
definitely not. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like it's not anything super nuanced, right? But it's just compared to Cinema Sins, it's like definitely just the more positive and better.
Which one of you got a
Better
new
content.
channel member?
Not
Yeah.
me. So
Was it
I
me?
don't think it's me,
Well, it wasn't me.
or maybe I don't know. Let
What
us know.
channel did you become a member of?
Please
Alicia.
tell us.
Well, whoever it is, thanks. You know?
Yes,
thank you for becoming a member.
thank you for all of us.
Also,
We share
thank you for
everything.
being a
We are
friend.
communists.
Travel down the road and back again.
Also, you can like go back and hear some of like Drinker's old videos, and like just the his voice is different, obviously, because he's kind of putting on a voice a bit with his character. But
I think the difference is they were fans of something, they stopped being fans, and they become jaded. That's pretty much what all those channels are, and they found out they can make money by doing that. And that's the reality of it.
I mean, well, it's not funny to me, but the problem isn't that us realizing it, it's the fact that there's a shitload of people that actually take that stuff seriously, and then they like go out into the world and repeat that shit as if it's something sincere.
Yeah, and
yeah.
I'll be blunt. Like back years ago, I used to think Cinema Sins is an issue because, like, yeah, they essentially they do the bad jokes, and to their credit, they admit their jokes, but like a lot of their critiques were bad, and people would actually try to use them as if they're real critiques. At this point, I kind of don't care because there's so much worse out there. It's insane.
I think they're more on like the light end of like harmful content.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of people
absolutely.
understand that it's a joke, whereas with like a lot of the other channels, they don't. That's not that I'm condoning
Cinema Sins openly will admit to being a joke.
No, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't always get the jokes, but at least they're honest about like.
Well, that's because the jokes are usually quite bad. But yes.
Yeah, I mean it like the quality of each point just goes down because they have to find something for basically every part of the movie. But
it's often like just done. It's like you can tell a lot of them are like, this is off the top of my head. I'm not going to think any further than just like this thought that popped into my head. And if you did think about it for 2 more seconds, it'd be like the movie explains that or whatever.
And
exactly.
Honestly, pitch meetings and honest trailers are fine. I don't watch them that much anymore, but I mean,
me either. I used to watch the shit out of both of them, but
yeah,
there was a time when I would like not miss those.
They still are. Yeah.
I think Ryan George generally is doing, he's doing some pretty good content for the most part. He seems to be having fun with it. That's good.
Yeah. How it should have ended.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No one I used to
feel
watch,
like
not as much as the other two, but I'd watch them a decent amount. Of course, they have less because they have to animate
actually,
it.
you know what I just remembered is I actually have loaded up here it's a clip about a minute or so from our video about Sweet Baby Inc. And I mean, I guess if Tony's here, we could just play it.
Oh, nice.
Okay.
All right. A comprehensive list of what Sweet Baby Inc. can potentially work on if it's hired. Writing, cinematics, dialogue, UI, UX writing, barks, copywriting, etc. Narrative, story pitches, world building, character creation, narrative design, story feedback and tweaks, and more. Representation, cultural consultation, sensitivity and inclusivity reading, risk and opportunities assessment. Alicia, if you look in the description of whatever channel you're on, there should be just a pretty long list of our friends and whatnot, and then there's another list below that. It's just like channels that we recommend without necessarily them knowing about it, without their consent. But yeah, there's plenty there.
Yeah,
and more. Development, full-scale game development, and interactive fiction. That's a pretty broad range of shit that they could do. So Sweet Baby employees maintain that overall their job is to provide assistance to companies that already want to improve already existing diverse elements. So let's fucking read that sentence again. Provide assistance to companies that already want to improve already existing diverse elements. Because it seems like Tony honestly kind of has maybe a bit of a reading challenge going on. So I just wanted to really take that in. As per the company's CEO, who, she's apparently the devil, but the perspective is never that we're coming in and injecting diversity. For the most part, it's the reverse. What? They're taking out diversity? No. It's that the company has created a character, a diverse character, and they want to make that character more representative of real life people and experiences and more interesting.
Hello, Chariot. Welcome to the chat. But yeah, no.
I mean, it doesn't help that the guy who made the list admitted to not actually playing the games. I mean, that's a pretty big problem. Like, if I'm going to make accusations about something, I'm going to do my due diligence, try to get as much information as possible. I think if you're going to claim a game is bad because it's woke or whatever, you need to actually play the game a little bit. Even a little bit, like maybe a few hours of it or something. Because you can't say if you're right or wrong if you don't have an actual leg to stand on, and you're just going, it's wrong because this thing is associated with it, and that's guilt by association, which is something that a lot of people do not like.
Yeah.
So
especially since the games that Sweet Ink have worked on are have such a wide range.
Tony, sorry, we addressed this in the video, man. Like, you realize that we exist in capitalism, and that everybody's trying to convince people to hire them or buy their goods or whatever. Like, this is what I mean. This is exactly what I mean. Like, you're convinced of some evils that have taken place, even though you can't really point to those or be specific about it. So anything that is like normal fucking shit that, like, oh, we need to sell our, whatever company, like Best Buy or something like that, they have incentives and quotas for employees. You got to aggressively sell this shit. Okay, they're a company that wants to make money in capitalism. Like, how is it any different than anything else, man? This is what happens whenever you start with the foregone conclusion and then work your way backward. But we heard you rubbing your hands together. We know you're excited about trying to get a Gamergate 2 happening. It ain't gonna happen.
I just find it funny that the big controversy is that a company wants other companies to hire that company and make them more money. Like you said,
aggressively get people to give us money.
Yeah. What?
It was just, there's so many people who just don't really get what consulting firms do. Like, it's not just a Sweet Baby Ink thing. Like, in all media, like there is many companies that do this, right? They get hired to do a job, and then the people who have hired them to do the job can either choose to say, you know what, we agree with this feedback or these suggestions, we'll incorporate it, or they can say, you know what, never mind, actually, we found a different way. Like, none of it is permanent. They come and they do their research, they do their changes, they give their suggestions and feedback, and then it's completely up to the studios to say yes or no. There is no forced element in any of this.
You could even argue.
He says there is. Can you provide any sort of evidence that these companies have done this against their will, that they didn't want to prior to Sweet Baby Ink, I guess, introducing them to the idea of, hey, if you make video games more inclusive, more people will buy them? Because that's really what it is, man. I don't understand how you don't get that shit.
I feel like we should just try to get Tony, that's his name, right? Onto stream at some point, because I feel like talking through the chat, this is just not going to be.
I actually have talked to him about it too, about maybe linking up and getting on stream.
Okay,
and obviously we can do, oh no worries, but it's I for him and for us, I don't think it's.
I mean, I don't know every position that Tony holds on all this, because I've only caught a couple of the streams. I'll be honest though, for me, you could argue as a consultation firm, they're not very good at their job. You could easily be they're not great at consultation, or somebody in the company did something dumb. I would say that the way that some of the people in that company reacted are ways that I don't think are productive. You know what I mean? I think some of the stuff they did is stupid. But to act like what the service they provide is bad, in general, I think is a huge broad stroke of because I do believe that consultation, when it comes to diverse elements, can be beneficial to games. Because if you're someone that's making a game and you're like, hey, I want to include a character from this demographic, I don't know anything about their world, but I want to include this character. It's something that I want to include as a creator. So I call this company and I say, hey, this is the character I have. Can you help me? Yes or no? They can help. Okay, so come in, give me some suggestions. And then ultimately it's my decision. Now, if you get some sort of benefit from that, okay, that's fine. But then you would have to make the argument that every single studio that's making a game hires these companies to do this in order for that argument to stand for me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's not the case. Not every game has a diversity consultation firm working with them.
No,
I mean, I would argue, like, I mean, I agree with you that the some of those public statements, even prior and after the big exposure that they got, were, like, why are y'all doing that? But that kind of like goes to the point that they are a tiny ass 16 employee company, because if they were a big corporation, that shit wouldn't happen.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like, they would have people they'd have HR that would be on top of that type of stuff. But like, yeah, because it's just like a few people doing this, kind of service, it's bizarre to think that they just have this kind of sway. And also wanted to point out that, and I'm not saying this about Tony at all, because I haven't seen this from Tony, and I doubt Tony's done this, but I have seen several thumbnails of various channels and stuff where they're making sure to put, it's a black woman, and then like you know what I mean? Like, it's just it's kind of got this vibe to it that, like, why are y'all putting her in a thumbnail like that? You know what I mean? And I don't know. It seems like it's just there's an added layer of like.
You mean the more racially motivated thumbnails?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, there's some where they put little word bubbles and try to make her sound like she's speaking in some weird dialect, and I'm like, okay, so
one guy
that's
especially.
Stuff. Yeah, but yeah, that's why it would probably be a good idea for someone like Tony to come on to have a conversation, and obviously, like, it can also be in a different setting where it's not just all four of us, because I feel like that could be probably intimidating or not necessarily fair. But like,
it wouldn't be normal, but like Tony does it to people all the time. So like,
I mean, yeah, sure. It's like,
I think Tony'd be all right with it.
Like, and if he's fine with it, that's completely fine. It's just like, we can figure something out there.
So we can, I guess, get through what we're going to talk about here, and if Tony's still around or available, maybe we can bring him on toward the end of the show or something. But
and also, thank you. We still don't know exactly. Maybe.
It's not me.
It's not my channel. I have another window open with my channel, so I don't.
Okay.
I think
I don't get many like.
Is you.
It must be me then. In which case, thank you for the membership and yeah, and the sticker.
Tony's like
8 dudes.
He says, "I can handle 4 dudes. I can handle 8 dudes."
Nice.
Good game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I quickly address this? I just want to get this. It's a very quick thing right here. Boogie is like so many people. He is bleeding for money. So he is doing everything he can to make money online. He's actually clout farming and view farming. He's been doing it for the last week or so on his Twitter, and he's been bragging about how many impressions he's had on his tweet, how many views it's gotten. Boogie literally doesn't mean anything he says. He is doing all of this to make money, and it's very obvious with him because he has no money. He's absolutely broke, and that's what he's doing. So I don't have much of an opinion about Boogie. He's been doing this stuff for a while now, so I just kind of just overlook it. Don't even worry about it.
Yeah, as far as I know, like for years now, he's basically been using his personal struggles to kind of like leverage clout and money, and it's like I understand to a degree, like if you're going through some shit and your job is to be public like a streamer, then you're gonna incorporate that, but like sometimes it seemed a little bit disingenuous, and I don't know, that's why I don't like to watch content really that people are like doing that. That's why I don't do it really, because it's just creates this whole dynamic and weird gross vibes, I think.
Boogie is on a podcast called the Lol Cow Podcast. I think that says it all. You know what I mean? Like it's connected with Drama Alert and shit. Like just understand that he's doing it all for money. He doesn't care.
The Elon Musk of content creators. That's pretty good. Anyway, I timed out. I'm not going to call you out by name, but I timed you out a little while ago just because you dropped the R slur pretty aggressively in chat. You're a usual around here, so I wasn't going to ban you or anything. But there's no need for that, really. Like, express yourself better. I've been doing it. You can do it too. Anyway,
that sounds reasonable.
Sorry about that. I just saw the Boogie stuff and I thought I'd address it.
Okay.
So
yeah, for sure. But no, yeah. Just quickly to like end off the sweet baby stuff. Sweet baby.
Bad name.
Because it is true that like obviously there's some stuff that happened. Some of the people in the company that might not have acted or like in the best way possible. But it's like when it comes to the broader arguments that this is some big corruption within gaming industry and like Western culture, I've heard people say, like, you need way more evidence than some like bad behavior by some of the people in the studio, and just like you need more than that, and you need to actually understand what it is the company's doing, because they're not forcing anything. It is the studios, they're choosing to want consulting. They have some kind of diversity, or they want some, and they want to get help. Like, that's all it is. It is not like Sweet Baby Inc. does not have any power.
I mean, I'm open to the notion that, like, you know, maybe if somebody can prove it. Like, I don't have any evidence that they aren't forcing anything. It just seems irrational and illogical, and not the way things are done, and I don't see any evidence for it. And the way evidence works is you know, a positive claim. Like, you say something is happening, you need to support that with evidence. And me saying that's not happening, I don't, you know, that's just, sorry, that's the way it works. You don't need to support a negative claim. There's no, you know, it's just,
there's no evidence yet.
Right. So, and yeah, if somebody's like, here, look, right here is fucking a video of the Sweet Baby Ink lady like holding a knife to somebody's fucking throat, and like, okay, look, man, you're right. You know, like, you got me, but that's not happening.
For me, I always put the credence on the party making the extreme claim. You know, if you're saying something wild, like there's a woke cabal forcing women and minorities into all this stuff, and they're all working together to force it all down everybody's throats, and forcing Bob Iger to do it against his will. It's like, I'm gonna need some citations, and they never do. It's like, well, I don't need a citation to counteract an insane claim. I'm sorry.
So, 107 people watching right now, 108. Subscribe wherever you're at, whichever channel you're on. We love you, unless we don't. Do you guys want to go Star Wars or X-Men?
Whichever one.
Okay, so I have not. I think I'm the only one that hasn't watched some X-Men, right? Y'all have watched?
I have not yet either. I'm waiting for my son.
I have not. No.
My son's seen clips.
I'm the only one
that's
watched it. So.
I did not know it had come out.
Yeah, he was excited to watch it because he thought it'd come out, and so I was like, "Oh, I guess I'll wait for the weekend to watch it." So
I watched it this morning right away as soon as it came out. I was ready for it.
The clips look so good.
I have one question to start off with.
Yeah.
Is it for someone who has not watched the original?
Yes. Yeah, you can watch it straight away.
Perfect. Awesome.
Actually, if you don't want to watch it, like if you do feel like there's some stuff you need to know, they put out a 2-minute or 3-minute video on the Marvel YouTube channel that gives you all the relevant information before you watch the first episode. So you can watch like a 3-minute video and then jump right into the.
Oh, that's awesome.
I had a strong feeling they were going to make it, you know, new viewer friendly. Like, that would be kind of silly for them not to.
You have to when there's that big of a time gap between the two seasons.
It'd be weird.
I think the time jump has to be like the reason for it, like that's how they did it, kind of thing. Like, because that way you can just kind of like start fresh within 97 instead of in, what was it, 92 was when it ended, right?
Yeah. So the thing is that, like, if you start watching this,
97.
Yeah, but you can jump into this, like, honestly, even without watching that video, you can jump into this and it pretty much sets everything up for you. Because I watched it with somebody who had never seen the original series, and they were perfectly fine with it. So
cool.
And I will say, like watching the original, I'm doing another watch through of the original just to get myself kind of caught up. And the animation is not amazing. It's not the worst.
The original one,
but it gets kind of janky.
Well, there's different. The weird thing about the original one, I guess we're talking about X-Men 97 first, since we're doing this now. So, but,
yes.
The original series had like some animation issues. There was a regular animation team that worked on it, and then there was like a one-off team that did like 2 or 3 episodes, and then the final season was completely different from all of the other
final
seasons.
season looks awful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This one looks amazing. The Chuds are oddly silent today. They did all of that astroturfing about how the show was going to be woke and awful, and then the first 2 episodes drop in crickets from them. No live streams about it, no videos about Rogue's ass being flat.
Well, no, that's because they're moved on to the next thing, and that's one thing that I wanted to kind of talk about with these things, because like I'm finishing up this video that I've been working on for a few weeks now on the X-Men 97 and like the kind of general response to it, and like as I'm finalizing this video, I was looking last night and I'm realizing, man, they've gone on to Sweet Baby Inc. and now George Lucas, Star Wars, Disney stuff since then. And it's like, and part of it almost makes me want to go, oh man, it's not relevant anymore, but it actually is super relevant, because it just goes to show that like they will abandon the thing as soon as the new thing is up. And
I
you
mean,
have to fucking-
I was just gonna say,
Sorry.
like X-Men '97. Say we will about Rotten Tomatoes. Rotten Tomatoes just named it the best new show of 2024.
It's amazing, and I'm not
yeah,
saying
so-
that lightly. It is fucking amazing. It is so good and introduces so many things from the comics that people are going to be like, "Holy shit!"
I'm fucking hyped now. Holy yeah! All right, let's do it. In fact,
Do you want me to clear up some stuff that's non-spoilery so that people might know what they're getting into with this? Wolverine's not gay. Sorry to break anybody's heart.
I have a music video on my channel. I have a song that I performed that says otherwise.
Yeah, Wolverine's not gay in the cartoon. His friendship with Morph is not weird. It's the same friendship that they had in the previous show.
That's just toxic masculinity shit. Where it's like,
yeah,
it said something about like the description was like they have a special bond or something like that, and it's like they're like, oh, gay. It's like, dude, are you fucking 12 years old? Like, that's the kind of reaction that like I admittedly had that kind of mentality when I was like 12 or 13 years old.
Morph doesn't have a big coming out moment about being non-binary. That doesn't exist in the show either. They simply refer to Morph as they a couple times, and that's it.
I will not watch.
And yeah, I mean, it's pretty fucking base. The animation is so fucking good. There's no weird like, you know, Storm comes in doing her and the deserts and the sea and the witches and the ball, like all of her like, you know, speaking out when she's using her powers, which is great. Magneto is fucking amazing. They tie up some stuff from the previous season, but they do it in a way that like new viewers don't have to know anything about the previous season. It's just fucking amazing. It's fucking amazing. That's all I got to say about it. Like, the Chuds are not going to talk about it because it's so fucking good. There's literally no way for them to navigate this because it's just going to get better and better and better.
I love when that happens.
They don't know how to talk about things in a positive sense. They're like, you know, we've seen them try to do it a couple of times.
The closest they'll get is if they can compare it to something that they can bash. So they'll talk about how House of the Dragon if it's coming out with Rings of Power.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Even then, their critiques on House of the Dragon will be quite
I mean, this
bad.
makes the What If animation look like dog shit. It's such beautiful 2D animation. It's like the visuals, the cinematography, just I don't want to spoil anything. It's so fucking good. It really, like, you have to watch this cartoon.
Let's just end the stream now and go watch it, everyone.
Yeah, let's just fucking watch this. I'm out of here.
Yeah, we'll just live stream it right now. Yay! I'll get some popcorn.
No, yeah, that's amazing. Viewer score in the 80% in the 80s. So, like, I wonder if it's going to be so good they can't even fucking review bomb it. We'll see. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Like, so
the
good
voices, it's so nostalgic. You hear everybody's voices, and immediately you're like transported back to like that era. All of this stuff about it's gonna be woke, it's gonna be pro this, pro that. It's literally just the X-Men. It covers civil rights and shit. That's what the cartoon is. That's what they did for years.
Bro, you know, like keep these fucking diary ass takes to yourself.
It's in the 90s.
Like we're sitting here having a good conversation about something we're all hyped about, and you come in here, you haven't watched it, man. You're just fucking giving some cold diarrhea up in chat. Anyway,
I can tell you right now, between this and Deadpool and Wolverine, it is the year of mutants for Marvel. I can tell you that right now. It's going to be quite a year.
I mean, they can use Year of Bub if they want to. They don't even have to ask me. They can use that, but they're not going to. It's fine. That's my thing.
I mean, it's crazy that like the X-Men already have this much like staying power when they were only announced by the MCU like a couple years ago that they'd be joining. That's crazy.
I think this proves that this is the next era of like what Marvel's going to do with the MCU. They're going to make it very mutant.
I mean, it's important to note that like X-Men #1 is holds the record for the highest sales of any single comic book in history. You know, from 91 was when that comic came out, I guess 92. Yeah, it's really just it's something resonant about it, and I tell you what, it's exactly the thing that these guys are trying to say doesn't exist in it. That's what's resonant about it. Whether it's like whether you're looking at it as a civil rights, a race thing, a gender thing, sexuality thing, or just like, you know, I'm kind of different and I don't fit in crowds or whatever, and that kind of like, because that's what I related to as a kid. Of course, now I know that's autism actually.
I mean,
but still,
just-
there's everybody can relate to that to some degree, and yeah.
To put in firm context, X-Men #1 back in the 90s sold 7,900,000 issues more than anything from the Rippaverse.
Holy shit. He's on his way though. He's gonna get there. Look,
Sure.
once he gets Ripascend off the ground, yeah.
Sure. Rippa's end will.
And I mean, they said that the Storm that we meet from the X-Men cartoon is going to be in the next season of What If, so she's going to be in one of those episodes. So,
ooh,
I don't know what that's going to be like, but yeah,
different universe.
So you're doing the exact kind of bullshit that I just don't fucking allow in my chat. I'm not going to ban you unless these guys think it's okay, but like that's the kind of shit I hate.
Well, they're not in my chat. So I've got my chat open over here. So
talking about, I was a Marvel fan when most of you in this chat thought it was corny. Like,
I doubt that. I was born in the 70s. So when were you born? Were you born in the 50s, 60s? How long ago were you born? Is that the game we're playing? I mean, with a name like Swagger Like Us, I doubt very seriously you were born before I was. So
yeah, I'm just gonna fucking I'm gonna put him in timeout. You be better. Come back better. Build back.
I don't. It also, I want to point out, we've gone through this before. When you started reading a comic, like when the first time you read comics to now, that doesn't determine how much of a fan you are of something. It's just not a good metric. By that metric, anybody that started reading comics in the last 10 years has no reason to argue or complain with somebody that started reading it in the 90s or the 80s or the 70s or whatever. It's just stupid. It's a stupid argument.
I mean, yeah, I always say like if you just like saw Spider-Man for the first time yesterday on a comic book or something or a coloring book, and you're like, I love that character, I'm a fan. Cool. You don't need to know any certain amount of things, and I'm saying that as somebody who knows a good bit of things. If I wanted to be a gatekeeper, you'd all have a bad fucking time. I'll say that. But I choose to use my powers for good.
There you
go. But like honestly, I will be surprised to see what they're going to try and tiny, like as Jeremy says, this tiny thing, what tiny thing they find in the cartoon to build their narrative around. I'm curious what
there's nothing in the cartoon. There just seems like there's nothing, but what they are doing is this shit, which I think is, it's problematic to say the least. I don't know, Bob, are you about to show something or
No, I was actually I was looking to see if there's something to show, but no. I have
Fandom Wire. Where does Marvel find these people? More disturbing details reveal why the Witcher writer Bo DiMaio was fired days ahead of X-Men 97 premiere.
And it's all hearsay. It's all hearsay.
And I just want to break down every bit of this because, like, why does it say The Witcher in the title? Well, because that gets it into the fucking the algorithm. The same way as, has nothing to do with The Witcher, but they make sure to say that because then you get that and X-Men 97 in the fucking in the title.
Yeah. Yep.
And then they put Moon Knight, they make it one word, no space. Good job, guys.
Tourist, I tell you, tourist.
Just bullshit, dude. Like, so Jeff Snyder is a fucking problem. I've been looking into him, and he's got some.
The N. Snyder, you've been looking to the N. Snyder.
Yeah, because I was like, man, I've seen some stuff from him before that I remember reading and being like, what the fuck? This is a weird take that like. He claims to be an insider and he's got some inside info, and I'm pretty sure I remember that nothing ever came of what he claimed, but nobody holds him to account for this shit. So, yeah, on this, goddamn, and the ads should be indication of something too. Insiders report that Bo DiMaio's nightmarish behavior as a reason for
insider. They're also lying. It's not an S. It's only one person.
So. And then, of course, it doesn't actually get to saying anything of substance until here. A few days ago, he was let go from the show, according to the Hollywood Reporter. Okay. And then, okay, here we go. So this is the same podcast that I remember seeing stuff on before, and we can look at some of those takes because he's got some takes in the past. So, yet Marvel's been hasn't given a clear-cut reason why the writer, who's also worked on Moon Knight and The Witcher, reported that much of DiMaio's behavior was deemed to be difficult. Insiders reported that. So what insiders? Industry insider Jeff Snyder revealed part of the reason while on the podcast The Hot Mic with John Roca. I think he was probably difficult to work with and getting on everyone's last nerve, and I don't think the OnlyFans stuff helped. That's where I leave it for now.
Wow.
I think he was probably.
Listen, he doesn't have. Yeah. No, that whole sentence just tells you immediately. Like they want to imply a whole bunch, but they have nothing.
I mean, Ben, if this is your idea of good, man, then like I don't know, get better standards, because like this is just some fucking clickbait bullshit. He's throwing off some garbage to try and get attention.
I mean, like ethically, let's think about this. You have Bo DeMaio, who has said some shit that I don't agree with on social media. He said some really dumb stuff, but he's also a guy that's been targeted for being gay. He's been, you know, people have gone after him simply for talking about what he wants to do with the X-Men series and making all these accusations about him. I think it is very irresponsible for somebody who's an insider to go onto a podcast with a hot topic like this and make statements about someone who cannot speak for themselves right now, because Bo DeMaio has no social media, and clearly whatever happened with him in Marvel is under some sort of a NDA or something like that. So he's just making stuff up, and this guy can't defend himself. That is irresponsible, and it's fucking disgusting.
Right. Yeah. Somebody from Marvel actually worked on the show with him, actually said that fired isn't even the right word, that it was just a parting of ways.
Right. Yeah.
So like, yeah, he left on his own terms. Okay. So like, you know, and then it gets worse the more we look down here, because so he reportedly ran a free OnlyFans account. No, he did, you know, where he released non-explicit content. That's true.
Right.
He wasn't, you know, it was just like,
so if that's been confirmed, then the OnlyFans wouldn't have been an issue unless there's just a blanket, like, no OnlyFans clause in the contracts.
So I think this is actually where it does say that, wait, let's see. So industry insider, Jeff Snyder, I don't like the way that sentence rolls. In his paid newsletter, paid, huh? Snyder, which usually includes his important scoops and insider information, also revealed that X-Men 97 creator Bo DeMaio was a nightmare to deal with on a daily basis, and that many of Disney's executives found the showrunner to be creepy.
Because that's not insidious as a statement. Like,
yeah,
no. This is that's just some. Okay.
And then you have a statement here that completely contradicts what the Snyder was saying. Like, was he fired or did they part ways? Who are you going to believe? Somebody that worked with him in the studio or this other guy?
I mean, no, just because, look, you're not necessarily, man. If he can, you know, shit on them all he wants to, but like if he's being irresponsible with who he lets on his podcast and he's not pushing back against any of this and he's not like doing any actual journalist work, you know what I mean? Like, then, yeah, I mean, I'm just saying, and look, because people like to get confused about this shit, we're not sitting here defending Bo DeMaio. I don't know anything about.
Yeah, I don't know. We don't know what he did. I can't defend something.
I actually think there might be something going on that we don't know. That's gonna be kind of
you know, people under the Sweet Baby Inc. video are like, well, they're not worth defending, and it's like, I'm not defending Sweet Baby Inc. That's not my goal here. Like, my goal is to defend reality and like the concept of like proving shit that you say is happening. Back it up with something, you know. Yeah. So I can't talk about the details. This is Brad Winderbaum.
Which is exactly why I said earlier this was insidious, because nobody associated with this can speak on any of it. That's the thing. They can't defend themselves.
So, like, I can't talk about the details, but I can say that Bo had real respect and passion for these characters and wrote what I think are excellent scripts that the rest of the team were able to draw inspiration from to build this amazing show that's on screen.
Doesn't sound like they think he's creepy at all, surprisingly.
This is where it gets really fucking shitty, and their agenda becomes clear, because like they fucking mentioned Jonathan Majors. Like, what? I mean, I guess there's cause to kind of like mention that as like saying from the angle of like Marvel's had some problems with.
I think it's funny that they expected Marvel to predict the future, right? So they hired Jonathan Majors, and now they're under fire because they hired someone that hadn't done anything wrong at the time they hired them, to the point where it happened. Like, fair enough if there was some shit that happened before that and they still hired this person, but that's not the case.
But this is where it gets really fucking fucked up, because you just get tweet after tweet of people calling this guy creepy and shit. Where does Marvel find these people? You know, I know that guy.
Jonathan Majors, good actor, but a creep. But then if it turns out this guy's a creep, then that's two of how many, probably thousands of people have worked for Marvel at this point.
Look, I don't trust anything Disney says. That's the thing. Disney didn't say it. That's why media literacy is really fucking important.
Just people like questioning any kind of like actual good faith take on this situation, you know, and then talking about he's creepy. Well, Well, that's a good.
And, you know, these are
reasonable
just random Twitter users too. Like, are these
Right.
industry insiders who work with them?
You know, no, we don't have to make do with this. You didn't have to publish this, man.
And I thought is it make do? Is that proper? Is it supposed to be DO or DUE? Make do?
I think it is. I think that's appropriate.
Okay. I'll be honest. I don't think I've ever seen that written down before.
Yeah.
So
It's
I have
kind of
no
a thing
idea.
at the bottom saying, yeah, we kind of know this article's bullshit, but we like clicks.
I just think that there like when you're talking about someone who clearly the situation is not something that Disney wants to talk about publicly, and you have a person who you don't know if it's a mental health issue, you don't know if it is a health issue, you don't know if it's some sort of discrimination case or whatever. We have no idea what this is. To come out and say all this stuff is just completely irresponsible, in my opinion. So
you guys want to know a little bit more about Jeff Snyder?
Yeah, sure. Let's do it.
Because there's some interesting stuff.
That's a name that gets brought up somewhat often. So
I feel like it's fair to look into, okay, so where's this guy from? What's he about, right? Like once you start, you only ever hear him whenever there's some like dramatic, juicy, gossipy scoop, right? Well, let me let Gordy in the door, and then we'll look at that. I'll be right back.
Doing real life stuff. Where are his priorities? What the hell?
I know your priority should be here.
How
the
dare
podcast?
You.
Hello,
exactly.
Hello.
Pay attention.
Fuck a door.
Yeah. Fuck real life. Fuck. You know. Jeez.
Not fuck Gordy, because Gordy is great.
Yeah. No. We
true.
Don't say that.
Gordy's the star of this show.
I think we have to remember this is what gets lost in the sauce with this stuff. Bo DeMaio, although was a major part of the show, he wasn't the only person that made the show amazing. There were other people involved. There's animators, there's voice actors, there's a lot of stuff that goes into that. And this is why this like focus on him while the show is premiering is it's transparent on what they're doing. 100% transparent. And it's also why I said whatever happened must have been major, because Disney would know that this would be a focus before the show came out. So whatever happened behind the scenes that caused the parting of ways to occur must have been pretty massive. And I don't think it's something as simple as, oh, he had an OnlyFans. I don't think that was it.
No,
I don't think so either.
So just, and this is like a pretty, brief search that I did, just kind of like see what's got. So Jeff Snyder, he's not just some asshole that like has never worked in the industry or anything like that, that managed to get lucky. He actually did work for Variety. I'm sorry, he worked for The Wrap. And in, let's see. And in 2013, he was fired from The Wrap for unprofessional behavior because he lost a scoop to another journalist. The scoop being that he was trying to report that Christopher Nolan was going to be directing Interstellar. Someone else got that scoop ahead of him. And he tweeted that he was going to drive his car into a tree and that Hollywood had his blood on their hands.
What?
So, let's see. And then, so he was also, then he went on to work for Mashable, which he was fired from.
Okay.
Whenever guys remember Oscar's So White?
The name sounds familiar.
The movement, the Oscar's So White hashtag, where it was like,
oh yeah.
That was like, it actually did create some change. That's when they opened up the Best Picture category to like more, they changed some things with that.
You said Oscar, and I'm just thinking of Sesame Street.
Yeah, I was thinking name like Oscar. So I thought it was Oscar So White was the
Oscar
name.
So White. You guys know Oscar So White, right?
That name does sound familiar. Oh, it's the movement, right? Okay, got it.
It's the Academy Awards stuff.
So he wrote an article on Mashable called "Oscars So White is Canceled," and then there's some like kind of like not like super egregious, but some kind of cringy, racially tinged commentary in there, and he got fired for that. I don't know. Yeah, I mean he just seems like a contrarian dickhead. So then whenever it was being discussed that Sony and Marvel were going to be, coming together to make a new Spider-Man series franchise, right? Or series after what ended up being MCU Peter and whatnot, Tom Holland. He was saying that he's 95% positive that Spider-Man is not going to be white. I mean, nothing necessarily inherently awful about that, but he was just like, why would he be 95% sure? That's just kind of evidence of him making a claim. And obviously did not turn out to be true, unless Tom Holland is just like, I don't know, he's hiding something. I don't know. But anyway.
Well, I mean, that's the type of thing lots of times these guys will say to give themselves wiggle room. That's all it is.
Mhm. And so, yeah, that's really him wanting to say it's 100%, but he also knows that he didn't really know shit.
Yeah.
So then there's like a subreddit or a Reddit post on Oscar Race, where it's just, so he's very tied in with the Collider folks. So I used to watch Collider on a regular basis. Schnepp and fucking Roca and fucking Perry Nemiroff and what's his name?
Is Collider still a thing? Are they still making?
I mean,
content?
yeah, but they've gone more in like the kind of clickbaity, the gossipy, juicy bullshit route than they used to be, and so I don't watch them anymore. But like, he's friends with them. I think he might actually be. Is he still part of the company? I don't know. But like, this is from a year ago, and there's just people talking about his cringe takes, and that he really just seems like he's a contrarian, Trump kind of guy. And I mean, look, none of that is a crime or anything, but like, just based on that little bit that I was able to find, it's like, okay, I think I can see that this would be the kind of guy that would, just kind of throw this bullshit out there just for attention, money, clicks.
Yeah.
Without actually giving any evidence. So, anyway.
I was just kind of looking at his channel. Yeah, nothing jumps out at me, but still, you know what I mean?
Well, I mean, he does seem to operate, close enough to the norm to be able to kind of rub elbows with certain people.
I think also he says a lot of stuff all over the place. It's hard to consolidate all of the stuff because it's over on Twitter, it's on YouTube, it's on fucking Reddit. It's just his stuff shows up everywhere.
Yep. Oh, that's true. Robert Meyer Burnett was also Collider.
That guy's really fallen hard.
Yeah, I used to like all those people. I used to enjoy all of them. That fucking sucks that so many of them suck now.
Yeah, that does suck.
I mean, I guess Perry Nemiroff's probably still fine. She's, always seen.
And also they're jumping on at the end. I mean, the grift stuff is dying. Like it's every month or so I see the numbers just dropping, and it's like, you guys are trying to get in at the tail end of it. Maybe you should have done it sooner when it was much more profitable. The only two people that I see still growing from this are Nerdrotic and Drinker. Everybody else is kind of as just pretty much a flatlined, plateaued.
Well, you know what? Jeremy Griggs found a way to turn his channel around a little bit. Good for him.
Because of a hater.
Because of a hater. He took some feedback and he fucking look. It is what it is. I'm legitimately was like, okay, some points, I guess. There's that clip of him. He's clearly fucking coping, mad because somebody was like pointed out how his channel is actually dying. And he was like, when I looked and I was like, yeah, maybe they're right. My channel's not doing so good, not getting good views. So I started, because I was just uploading clips from streams. So then I started making new videos, and now I've got 60,000 views or whatever. And it's like, okay, cool. You actually
because you can do the clips, but you also have to supplement that with actual videos. You can't just do a clip channel. That's, why? Because other people do that. There are channels that exist just to clip streams. So when you're uploading the clips that somebody else has already clipped, it's like clip inception at that point.
Maybe, but maybe not. That's the thing. Maybe not. He's been doing a fucking blitz lately. He was on Benny Johnson. He was on fucking Piers Morgan, and then it's probably just actual subscribers. To be honest,
there are some people that have some sus sub counts that I've been keeping an eye on. So, like Eric July, but
you got a report on that.
Well, I mean, his sub count seems to not want to drop below 508. Every time it gets to 508, it's like it freezes and then it jumps up another like 1,000 subscribers. It's really weird because the views on his video don't correlate to the jump in subscribers. If somebody gets a jump in subscribers, typically they have a viral video. Like a video goes really, really viral, and then they get a big jump in subscribers. And so I'm monitoring like 3 different like tabs of like channels. Like I have them all lined up. People, I got my channel in there. I have the initiative members in there. It's like kind of a thing I like doing. So I'm watching it over here, the numbers. And Eric July has several times over the last 2 months gotten to the 508 number, and then will not dip below that. And then bam, all of a sudden, almost back up to 509 again.
They're live right now.
Yeah, yeah, it's a shit show. I was over there right before we got started. 5 minutes into the stream, they're already talking about anti-gay shit. So
of course.
Jesus.
I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but like 508,000 subscribers, shouldn't you have more than 1,100 viewers at a time?
That's like 2%. That's like 2% of your viewers are watching your videos, or your live streams.
Like,
and it's 2 of them, so you have to combine their channels together.
Yeah.
You have like almost 1 million subscribers between the 2 of you, and you have 1.1K people watching Rip in the Silverback. And you're talking about Star Wars and X-Men, the 2 trendy things right now. Like I
mean, look, for guys that like talk about anti-gay stuff so often, Rip in the Silverback just kind of sounds like it might be some kind of, I don't know, gay Vegas show or something like that.
Dude, I'm not here to judge. They just enjoy themselves, okay?
Hey, no judgment. I'm just saying, like, come on, guys, be proud.
I have a video coming out later today about how I think Eric July got turned down on Grindr. That'll be out.
Ooh,
tonight.
Oh, they're really leaning into the fucking Saskas now, huh?
Oh yeah, oh gosh, there's a clip. It was on Twitter or whatever where they start talking about tentacle porn with Mauler, Gary, and Az, and you can see the guys don't know how to react to that conversation. It's pretty awkward. I don't have an issue with the Saska sisters. I've said this before. Whatever they want to do, they can do. I don't really give a fuck. But their connection with Eric July and these guys is such a weird relationship. I don't get it. I don't get it.
Oh, that's clever.
Okay. So I reacted to that. That's my video later today as a reaction to that video. So
I'm betting he's just as respectful as he is in that thumbnail, right? Like,
actually, no. The video is funny. The last minute and a half of it, he's just kind of screaming and yelling. It's really weird. So the video is a journey. It's a journey. Let me tell you what this video is. It starts out talking about Elliot Page and comments made about like queer movies not necessarily being niche anymore, which is Elliot's opinion. And it's based on the fact that 30% of Gen Z identify as queer, and that maybe it's not such a niche audience anymore. Maybe the queer media should be more mainstream. And so that's what it starts off as. And then Eric dives into like the Don't Say Gay bill, gay people are groomers, the vaccine was a lie, Fauci is like some lord, ruling over people. What? It's like a weird spiral of thoughts, and then by the end he's like really upset, like it looks like personally upset by all of this towards the end of the video. It's a wild video. I don't even understand why he uploaded it, to be quite honest. It's almost like he just had to find something negative to say about gay people, and that was the topic that he decided to segue with to platform.
I mean, I understand theatrics, Tony. I mean, you want to come on later if we have time, then you can do that, man. But like, I don't think that's very valid excuse to be as inaccurate or unspecific as you are.
Which video was it? Was it the clip video? The one video you uploaded from the stream was like a clip from a stream or something?
Yeah, it was where we actually watched a little bit of Tony's video, and we just
okay.
mostly just kind of looked into the claims in general and stuff like that. Yeah.
Oh, also Eric is comparing his comic book sales to a movie release, the Magical Negro movie.
No, I've noticed that all the chuds, almost all of them, seem to be talking about that, and it's like, there's no way in hell that was made with you guys in mind. Like, well,
not only that, but it's not going to hold on. Like they're going to get a couple of videos out of it, and then it's going to drop off. Nobody's really talking about it.
I happened upon a video from like a month ago of his where I left a comment the other day where it was like, he was like, oh, the title of it is literally Eric July wants to be white. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. I wonder what he's saying about that. And I go and look at it, and he's just like, he says gay about 60 times in this like short ass video. He's like, it's just gay. All these black people, they're asking for permission and begging for respect from white people or whatever. And it's like, I mean, I don't think that's the case that's happening, but I mean, what you're doing is just like, prostrating yourself out there for literally rich white dudes like Glenn Beck, and like, throwing other black people under the fucking bus just because I guess he pays well enough for that shit.
Well,
It's
the other
pretty
thing is that we've already looked at it. You showed the clip earlier when we started the stream. Like, he puts out a lot of gay content. Like, we're talking like almost 50% of his content is related to gay topics. And the video that you were just showing, that thumbnail, he talks about how gay people want to throw it in your face. And I'm like, dude, you are facilitating that. Like, if you think that gay people are putting stuff in your face and then you spend almost half the time on your channel reiterating and platforming that stuff, then you are facilitating that. If that's what you truly believe, if you think that's what gay people are doing. Because he talks about stuff sometimes that I haven't even heard about. Like, I follow a lot of gay media. He's bringing up stuff that I'm like, where the fuck did he get this from?
Let's watch it, because I mean, it's a minute long or something, and we got 114, 15 people watching. Definitely weren't that many watching at the beginning. So, and by the way, check out Legendary Hobbyist. Whoops.
No bad
Whoopsie. Sorry.
Well,
I fucked it up.
Fucked it up.
Him being gay than anybody else, man. Like, I think you're more worried about him being gay than the guy he fucks, his husband.
In 30 days, Eric July has made roughly 62 videos. I'm not including live streams. These are just videos. 24 of those 62 videos, the topic of the video was either specifically gay, trans, anti-queer, diversity, like that umbrella. That's a little bit over 40%. We're talking about coming up on half of the percentage of content he puts out is exclusively made as anti-queer content. He said at the beginning of the year, as a business person, he was going to focus on his company and his brand. How many videos do you think in the last 30 days on his channel actually focused on Ripaverse
50.
Exclusively? 6.
Oh.
6 out of 62 videos actually focused exclusively on Ripaverse. That's less than 10% of the videos in the last 30 days. Yeah.
There you go.
The sad thing is that, like, this content is probably better, better advertisement for his comic than when he actually advertises his comic.
Yeah, I want to point out that all the Chud channels that attack me all the time for talking about Eric did not comment on this video. They ignored this video completely. Surprisingly enough.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, it's I know I made note of it whenever I first covered the first video of his that I actually covered, second video where I ever covered him at all. Because, like, it's literally, I don't know, it's like maybe a 10-minute video thereabouts or something, and it's like the first almost 2 minutes is him talking about Ripaverse stuff, right? Because it was before it had launched, but he's talking about the launch and stuff. And then he he kind of just like talks shit reductively about the Sun Spider character, as if it's like going to be in the whole comic book, as if it's crazy that there's some character that has a disability that can be a spider person too. This where he also says that Spider-Verse doesn't even make any sense when you consider Peter's origin, whatever the fuck that means. And then of course at the end it's another couple of minutes of just shilling Ripaverse stuff, and it's like I said then, I was like, all of his content from here on out is going to become this, where it's like just a sandwich of bullshit in the middle, but like it's the main goal of it is to fucking shill the Ripaverse. And yeah, I think I've been right about that.
I mean, the thing is that I wouldn't even care about this if he hadn't made so many videos saying, I'm going to move differently. I'm focusing on my business. I'm not going to be doing all this other shit. And then he gets on his podcast with Az, where that gives him the perfect platform to start talking about like the excitement about his company and his brand, because that's what he claims he is. And he just shits on gay people. Him and Az just shit on gay people. And I'm not being hyperbolic. All those clips and videos that he talks about are typically pulled from their podcast. That's what they choose to upload from their podcast, are the anti-gay clips.
So in 7 minutes we could learn about what Eric and Nerdrotic think about this power struggle going on at Disney. Do you guys want to do that?
I don't know. I don't think I've seen this.
I haven't either. I just noticed that there's a 7-minute video, and it's like,
either sounds interesting.
Let's try it.
We could do that. That's a good segue into the Star Wars topic. So we could do that. That would be great.
Reshare here. Yeah, nobody be like a dick to anybody that in chat. By the way, like you can disagree.
Please be assholes. Like attack everybody.
I mean, I guess if you're getting
slurs in the chat,
let's get that engagement up, y'all. Fucking, where's some gamer words at? Don't do gamer words, please.
If they succeed, Disney could suffer the same fate as other great companies that Peltz has previously infiltrated.
What is all this like? Hold on, pause already.
What?
What is this like stock footage shit that's been going on lately with these guys? Like, did they get a subscription to Canva and they're just like, we're going to use all the stock footage that Canva has? I mean, what the?
They got a shared one.
So, well, I mean, I think that first thing that was they showed was actually like some pro Disney ad or something, whatever, but with stock footage. But like, yeah, it's So does everybody know the people involved here? Because it's kind of wacky what's going on behind the scenes. It's fucking corporate bullshit, and I hate having to even look into this stuff. But because we do have to look into it, there are some interesting figures involved. We've got the return of fucking Ike Perlmutter, fucking just like a demon from beyond. He's been
just
resurrected.
won't go away, man. Like fuck.
I know.
I think he's butthurt about having been pushed boxed out of Marvel. So now he's like, oh, I'm gonna fucking I don't know. If you guys ever looked into like what's going on with him and like his personal life, it's also fucking insane. He's been this years long, lawsuits back and forth between him and some other rich guy about I think a tennis court or something like that, where they're like, there's just these crazy fucking stalkery email or mail sent to each other and just like this crazy shit that like you guys are fucking rich ass old dudes and y'all are acting like I don't know. It's weird. He's a weird guy.
I'll be honest, I ignore Ike Perlmutter as much as possible because I just thoroughly dislike him.
Okay, so here's I guess we can do a quick rundown of the bullshit. So yeah, as in the main thing that this is popping off of as of yesterday, George Lucas backs Disney CEO Bob Iger in battle with billionaire Peltz. So Lucas voiced his support Tuesday for Disney and its CEO Bob Iger in the company's proxy fight against activist investors, and this is from Forbes, by the way. So not like radical leftist fucking outlet. Nelson Peltz and Blackwell's Capital. Multiple outlets reported as shareholders gear up to vote in April's annual meeting. So the key facts are Lucas reportedly said in a statement that creating magic is not for amateurs, later adding that he was relieved when Iger returned to the company because no one knows Disney better. In a statement obtained by CNBC, Lucas said he voted all of his shares for Disney's directors and urged fellow shareholders to follow suit. He got 7.1 million shares after Disney acquired Lucasfilm for $4 billion in 2012. So Lucas is worth about 5.5 billion. Peltz is worth about 1.7 billion. So I get there's your billionaire dick measuring there. The annual shareholders meeting is slated for April 3rd. And then you got former Marvel head and billionaire Isaac Perlmutter, who sold Marvel to Disney for $4 billion in 2009, came out in support of Peltz and offered sole voting power over his shares. Disney claimed Perlmutter had a long-standing personal agenda against Iger. And we can assume that the thing that it's not really saying here, a couple of the things I've looked at that seems kind of obvious, is that there's some political shit going on behind all this, because Perlmutter was literally part of Trump's fucking administration. He was the one of the 3 or 4 guys that were chosen. They were called like the shadow administration of the VA, which they basically burned to the ground. It was already on fire. They just like pissed on the ashes of the VA and how the system works. Veterans Affairs. So Iger resumed his role as Disney's CEO in November 2022 after stepping down from the role in 2020. Earlier that month, Peltz's Trien bought more than $800 million in Disney shares and did not support Iger's return to the company. So yeah, Trien announced Peltz was seeking a board seat in January 2023. Later, Peltz declared the end to the proxy battle the following month. Apparently not. And then Perlmutter comes in and says, here's all my voting rights. Use them. I don't understand. I'm not going to pretend to understand the details of how this bullshit works. It just seems like rich guys playing with G.I. Joes or something to me.
Mm-hmm.
They're making up the rules and stuff. Yeah, it's Blackwell's Capital is an activist investor group. and a small shareholder. So activist, there's the political reference right there. So they're saying that nominees believe that Disney's board is underperforming, which has caused investors to lose tens of billions of dollars in value. I don't know if that's true. Let's see. There's a link here. Let's see what it says. Oh, there's like a petition. So vote for change at the Walt Disney Company. See what they're so this is what like Nerdrotic and stuff is for. Like it's weird, right? That it's weird that Nerdrotic would be so pro these guys, right? Like that, I mean that's what we can take from this
I mean it seems a little cancel culture-y to me.
If you guys saw us on Tuesday night's main event, we watched it. Shout out to Jay. He sent me the video because I was like, I for sure want to go through this with
For
Gary.
sure.
But and I don't know if you have any insight before we start pressing play on this, as far as what's happening right now with Disney and a potential kind of power struggle, if you will.
So I'm not the financial analyst kind of guy, but the
Oh,
fact
you're not?
is a power struggle.
You would.
I mean, don't you make several
sure?
videos talking about like literally you guys hinge your entire argument on how much money stuff makes.
His
and how what the
reviews
break-even
of
point is.
movies, Bob, you know about this for sure. Like his reviews of movies often like spend several minutes before he talks about the movie itself, talking about the financials of fucking Disney. That's
Right.
weird.
Yeah,
But he's not a financial analyst, according to him. So all of a sudden he doesn't have an opinion about it.
Are you talking about me? Fuck yeah. I'm sorry. I mean, I'm not sorry, but like I do, yeah.
Yeah, Dane, I've been meaning to tell you, watch your fucking language.
Yeah.
Wow.
Fuck you, man.
Wow.
Fucking Christ, man.
Also, I find it annoying every time I see some like random clip that has nothing to do with anything. Like that laugh. It just it irks me. Like in Eric's video.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Dane.
Oh no, sorry, that might have sounded a bit.
Damn it,
talking
Dane.
about,
talking about
personal. Every time I hear that laugh, I just want to die.
You mean the Agent Smith, right?
Yeah,
yeah.
I feel like
yes.
Maybe it's just that like I only see it in or pay attention to it when it's like more right-leaning content. But I feel like a lot of channels do that where they just insert random meme clips that don't add anything. It's almost like to just try to make jokes or something.
It's funny you mentioned that. All of Eric's recent videos, they're doing that. I think it's something he's trying to pull in more viewers. He's adding in memes now because he wasn't doing that before, but apparently he's doing it now unless he has a new editor that he hired.
Yeah.
Hey man, you got to try something because his channel's not doing
true.
so
Maybe we
great.
should try it.
I mean, you can only buy so many subs. Oh wait.
Is the story.
Yeah.
I personally do not think if Nelson Peltz and his CFO get on the board, it will fundamentally change Disney. It will create chaos, and I am all for chaos.
So I think he's
I thought he
probably
was the
lying there.
financial guy. Now all of a sudden he knows all these guys and knows the inner workings. Wait, I'm confused.
I think he's probably lying there because, like, you know, it's if you're talking about Ike Perlmutter, he's a Trump guy. You're talking about, you know, this activist, like they're almost certainly in part going to. Let's see what this petition says actually before I speculate anymore.
We value your privacy, Dane.
I reject all of it. The world's most
Reject modernity.
Entertainment.
Oh god.
You have a winning hand in today's evolving consumer entertainment landscape. Instead, Disney has lost its way. Shareholders have suffered greatly, losing tens of billions of dollars in value. Lack of focus, alignment, and accountability.
That's huge. And guys,
So
the loss in revenue has nothing to do with COVID. Ignore the fact that the graph looks like a COVID graph. It has nothing to do with it.
I see, you know, I mean, it's all done in this economic language, and it's just like I just have a strong sense that underneath all of this is because it's woke.
I mean, What other reason
Yeah, I
could
mean,
they be
that's
saying is
general
the problem?
argument.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't think they have any other. They don't have any other argument. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Conformist culture and lack of accountability. There we go. There we go. I think that is pointing
That's
to
a new. That's a new term. Conformist culture. I don't think I've ever heard that before.
No.
complacency in the face of underperformance.
Now show me the graph with the rest of the industry's numbers to show me that Disney is an outlier from the rest of the industry, because that would be the big selling point, right? I think you could argue that the entire industry is suffering, with a few exceptions. We've had a couple of big breakthrough films, but outside of that, the movie industry in general is not in a good place.
Okay, so on the very last, so they're definitely trying to downplay it, but it's right here, down the very last thing that they're comparing as like, here's what we want to focus on, what we're good at, and then here's what they do, and diversity. Yeah.
I can't believe we've gotten to a point where it's like, if you include black people, women, and gay people, it automatically means it's a bad thing. That's the point we've reached. Like, where we have people in the actual financial industry going, okay, so it has to be all white straight men. We can't include anybody else because it's not financially beneficial. That's an argument they're actually using.
Well, yeah. So what did you say you wanted to see now?
No, I was saying that it would be great if they took those numbers and compared them to the rest of the industry to show that Disney is an outlier, because they're not. The rest of the industry is also struggling. Like, the movie industry has been struggling since like COVID.
Yeah.
So I don't think anybody is doing gangbusters right now. Is there any company that's like so far ahead of everybody else that it's just a wild thing? I don't think there is. I think Warner Brothers just recently said that their streaming service finally turned over a profit. Finally, after all this time. And that's because they had to sell off assets and get tax rebates on everything. Like, no one is doing amazing at the moment.
No.
So their annual quarterly gross profit history and growth rate from 2010 to 2023.
Yeah.
Can be defined as profit a company makes after deducting the variable costs directly associated with making and selling its product. Okay. So there's like the purest form of profit, like after costs considered, right? So, wow. Okay. So a quarter ending in, I guess the most recent quarter that we have anything for, right, is nearly $8 billion. That's an 11% increase year over year. Of course, they want more. Of course, they've made more at different quarters and stuff like that, like way more. But I mean, yeah, it hasn't. This is not. I don't know. I mean, I'm actually not gonna pretend to be an expert on this stuff in videos and then go somewhere else and say, I don't know what I'm talking about with this stuff.
But these are the first people that are like, you shouldn't count another person's money, but they spend their entire time fixating on how much money Disney is making.
Yeah, they always talk about money.
It's weird.
Mm-hmm.
It is so weird. Eric July will get on camera and be like, how do you know more about my business than I know? I mean, you do the same thing with Disney and all these other companies.
I mean, they've like stuff like, I don't even know how to argue against this stuff, because like they're making profit. They're not making the same profit or even half as much profit as they have before, but like they can also turn that shit around pretty quickly.
Yeah,
we know that they've been changing their output with Marvel and Star Wars and stuff like that. They're changing up how they do things. They've got a big hit on their hands right fucking now.
Yep. And I'm sure Deadpool and Wolverine is going to be a massive. That movie could probably do $1 billion. I really feel like that movie could do $1 billion.
Oh yeah.
But here's the thing. What's to say that the values that these corporate people have is the same as the creative people? The creative people probably just want to make good shit. The corporate people want to make all this money for themselves. That's what they want to do. They just want to make more money. They don't care about the quality of the content. They never have. They're concerned about the quality of the content is how much this content can make money for me.
True.
Oh,
if they were making if movies that had like black leads in it, like black men were the lead of every movie, and it was making billions of dollars, they wouldn't be saying this stuff because they care about money. They don't care about any of the issues. They don't care about wokeness.
So one of the things that they've lost the most money with is the streaming, which is pretty much every streaming company has been suffering.
Streaming is a problem.
I think it's just generally like an industry issue that's being addressed. So that's I think maybe the main thing that they've lost money on in the last year or so. And then of course they probably lost a shitload of money on parks and stuff like that in 2020, 2021.
There's a deeper issue with streaming that I think we'd have to dive into a lot more stuff to get into it. But I think streaming overall has destroyed the big budget cinematic landscape and completely demolished mid-level movies.
Yeah,
like the mid-budget movies, just forget it.
So right here on February 7th of this year, the Walt Disney Company posted stronger than expected earnings for the final 3 months of 2023, boosted by cost cuts and growing revenue from its theme parks business. Bob Iger said the company is on track to making its streaming services profitable. Yeah, okay, well, and so, but yeah, like we were saying too about the whole George Lucas of it all, right? Like, acting like George, I don't know. Maybe he says something about it in this video. Let's see if Nerd Erotic has anything to say about it.
Real quick, I just want to back up DJ's point that we can talk about market share and corporate decisions all we want. It has nothing to do with actual quality of the art.
Nope. Nothing.
Of movies. No relation.
Well, my whole point was to say that I think that fucking Nerd Erotic is fucking lying right here. Like I think he knows he's lying.
Nelson Peltz and his CFO get on the board, it will fundamentally change Disney. It will create chaos, and I will fundamentally change Disney. Is the story?
Yeah.
I personally do not think if Nelson Peltz and his CFO get on the board, it will fundamentally change Disney.
I mean, I think on some level, maybe he knows that would change. Of course, maybe that would be bad for him technically.
Yeah, I was going to say technically. So I've said this before. I've got several clips where I've talked about this. These guys don't want it to change because then they would have to start admitting that stuff is good because these guys are in charge of it. And these are people they should technically support.
So why do you think that Nerd Erotic has his hat in the ring with the Peltz side of things?
Why does he have it in the ring?
Yeah. I'm just curious. I'm like, I don't know. I'm just curious.
Because I believe that. So I don't think there's any. If somebody with more conservative values came in to work at the top end of Disney, somebody that's connected with like a lot of these organizations and things that they support, if they came in and technically they're going to change Disney and make it more like white straight men, and that was what they were going to focus on and stuff like that, then they would have to start shilling for Disney, which does not equal money for him. So he doesn't want them to actually change anything. I think that's a fallacy.
At the same time,
I think he wants it to stay the way it is.
At the same time, however, let's think about this. Even if we get more conservative, executive leadership in Disney, they're not going to completely phase out all people of color and even queer people from everything because they're fucking capitalists. So they know that should, that they're going to need. They might be more, ham-fisted with how they shoehorn, those things into there. But these guys will still be able to grift on that.
But the thing is, I don't think that I don't know if they have a way to do it right now. Like they'd have to figure out how to navigate that because once say, for example, they brought Steve Rogers back, right? They came in tomorrow and they said, Steve Rogers is coming back. Tony Stark is coming back. We're doing away with all the women-led films. All the TV shows are going to be based on, male characters or whatever. It would be really difficult for them to continue to convince their fans to hate this stuff because that's what all of them have been wanting for a long time.
I mean, now they've had a really convenient target with Disney because a lot of the LGBTQ stuff, frankly, has kind of reached, the modern audience. But they love to use that term, but it's become part of our culture, and and it's part of the it's a big part of Generation Z. So Disney, knowing that that's a big part of Generation Z, will of course embrace that because money. They're all about the money. So it's making a good target for right-wing grifters to complain about this shit. And if it stopped doing it, they would have to find a new target, frankly, because
you're trying to see if there's anything of substance in this conversation.
Making positive content would not be monetarily advantageous for them.
No.
I mean, look, I guess maybe he is being honest. He says it will create chaos, and I'm all for chaos. So I want him to win. I don't want to say what I said earlier. I'm also at the point where let's give Bob Iger everything because he won't know it's going to fail.
I know it's going to fail. It's of course.
Yeah.
Even if it's succeeds.
Somehow it wraps around to Rings of Power. Somehow we wrap around to that.
Because Rings of Power was a huge bomb for Disney, guys.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, I don't think, like, genuinely Disney has come back since the failure of Rings of Power.
Right.
Yeah.
Look, they don't. It doesn't tell you in the transcript who's talking, but I'm pretty sure that's Eric.
Weirdos is definitely Eric. That's the word. I bet if you click on that right now, that is Eric saying that.
Yeah.
Do it.
These weirdos.
Oh no!
Oh,
he's got Nerdrotic saying it now.
Well,
oh
you
my
know,
God.
he's just speaking the language of his host. You know.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever heard Gary say that. I mean, and I've dipped in on their chats once in a while. So weirdos is kind of an Eric July word, but that's funny.
Yeah,
that was.
I would have liked
it.
it. This is why I don't gamble.
Yeah. Gotta qualify when I'm talking veiled or subtle, because none of these guys are particularly subtle, but usually Nerdrotic's a bit more subtle than Eric July.
Well, let's see what he's saying.
Of course, now the thumbnails. Holy shit!
About
oh my
thumbnails
God.
are something else.
Holy shit!
And that's I think most people who are genuine fans of Nerdrotic don't understand. If you show an average person any random Nerdrotic thumbnail, that person will go, "Oh, that person's a bigot."
Well, they just don't even understand what's going on. Like, if you show them the thumbnail, they're probably confused on what the fuck they're looking at.
Yeah, I mean, like, you got to be deep in this
I don't know.
for all this
most time
to
they look pretty sexist.
like. Honestly, like, look,
Morgan, damn.
The only thing he did was, it seems like with this one, is just put a name tag on Zendaya. It doesn't seem like he altered her, really.
Well, because you have to understand
that
the movie is really good, so he's like, I'm just going to pick on the one person of color that's in the lead.
Yeah,
role. So that's what that is. Yeah, it's a woman and a person of color. Let's go ahead and attack that person.
Where he posts more.
He's got a million channels: Nerdrotic Daily, Nerdrotic Live,
yeah,
Nerdrotic
I think it's
Clips.
Nerdrotic
Like
Daily. If
channels,
you're looking for like the Let's Taco about Blue Beetle stuff like that.
Well, I'm looking for like the stuff about anything about goddamn George Lucas or something. I guess he's not really.
Not yet. He's probably saving it for Friday Night Tights. He's probably saving it for Friday Night Tights.
I think they might be streaming now. Actually, I don't. Obviously, not Friday Night Tights.
I don't think. No, I think that he wouldn't stream over Az and Eric.
That's a good point.
Jesus Christ, the most racist place on earth? No, I mean, you know, I doubt that they would even really make the running.
You know, it's really funny. They're calling out like it being racist, and then it's a racist thumbnail. Like I mean, and anti-gay. It's the rainbow Wakanda forever thing.
Like, how does anybody that follows this guy like look at this and go, yeah, this guy loves this media? Like, he just wants it to be better. Like, even if you do just believe that he wants it to be better than what it is, like, man, this is not somebody that gives a single.
There's no financial incentive for media to get better for these guys. That's what I keep saying. No. There is no argument that can be made that better media would cause them to change anything they're doing.
If Marvel, Hollywood, Disney, everything, like all media was exactly how these people wanted to be in their videos, they would not have a job anymore.
True.
They'd have to go get a normal ass job.
Or start shilling.
Chilling, yeah. Like,
this shit
their
right
entire
here,
channel
Jesus
is based
Christ,
on
yeah, that's the one I was
Hollywood
kind of looking
staying
for.
Not what they want it to be.
Yeah.
You tell people, you know, yeah, that's an actress who's deaf and amputee, and that's the thumbnail he made about her. It's like, wow, the fuck is wrong with you?
It's also, you just know that someone doesn't have good arguments if they have to go to this extreme length in their thumbnails. Like, if you didn't like Echo and you were genuinely interested in like critiquing it, you wouldn't go to that length, because you want the people to click on your video to either like be against you and then just like doing it because they agree with you, or just because like they see that and they're like, oh, nice.
I was looking down at the green room and I'm like, wait a minute, why am I in two thumbnails? And I realized that there's a video. mind out. I'm like, hold on, why am I wearing something different? For a second, I was like, am I frozen? Hold on.
Oh yeah.
Hold on.
Well, because you mentioned the Captain America thing, and I'd seen this video of yours, and I didn't really get a chance to watch it, so I didn't.
I've been very quick about getting videos out now. Like I pretty much try to do it.
You want to give us a quick rundown on what that video's about, or
so Cosmic Book News, one of everybody's favorite outlets.
I covered them back in the day.
They're like the diet chut. They're like on the cusp of chuttiness, but they provide like a good smoke screen for them. They were talking about how there was a test screening, I guess, assembly cut of Captain America 4, like without all the stuff in it they've reshot. Like it's kind of just a thrown together version of the movie that they showed about I guess a few weeks ago or whatever. And somebody went in and saw it and said that it had some issues. And so they were talking about some of the problems with the movie, like the pacing and the political stuff wasn't very interesting and stuff like that and everything. But here's the thing. That's the purpose of a test screening.
I was about to say an assembly cut will also have pacing issues. That's part of the assembly
so
cut
it was a test screening that was made with just a handful of people going to see it that were basically pointing out, because they're trying to fix Captain America 4. They're doing a lot of stuff with it. And so Cosmic News posted that, like this one person's take, and all the chuds are running with it, calling Captain America 4 a disaster based on a test screening. That's an assembly cut.
So this is a guy that claims to be single-handedly responsible for the success of the Guardians, for the Guardians of the Galaxy films being made in the first place.
Actual fandom?
No, this guy.
Oh,
Cosmic Book News, and then you go to the website and it's just like exactly what you expect, the same kind of content. I'm kind of curious, like why they don't use him more or at all. Really, I used to feel like I used to see his stuff cited in videos and stuff, and I don't remember the last time I even thought about this dude. Anyway,
in the rest of that stuff is that most of those videos people are still doing, like Sam Wilson shouldn't be Captain America, hashtag Steve Rogers is my Captain America, and I kind of break down the fact that people, like the arguments people make, like they say Captain America is not a mantle that can be passed down, which is just not true. But they say that because they're trying to argue that Sam Wilson shouldn't be Captain America. And then in my video, I'm like, but if Bucky were given the Captain America suit, they would all of a sudden be on board with it and be like, yes, fuck yeah.
In fact, that happened in the comics and nobody fucking complained. A lot of people thought it was pretty cool.
Right. So that's basically like when you take away all of the excuses to not like Sam as Captain America, the only thing left is that it's a black guy wearing the American flag.
Yep.
I mean, I've heard lots of issues with Captain America 4, and I'm sure the chuds are talking about like somehow it's woke or something like that. And I'm willing to bet you part of the issue is the fact that like that movie's supposed to have Sabra, who's supposed to be an Israeli Mossad member.
Yeah, and I believe that's one of the things they're removing from the movie, though. I think they're taking that out of the film.
Yeah, so, that one surprised me at all, and that's almost certainly one of the issues they have.
And they're reshooting the third act. Apparently, the third act. The Serpent Society was supposed to be part of the third act, but apparently they're reshooting it and changing that now. So I don't
the Serpent Society can't catch a break in these movies because they were supposed to be like the part 3 too.
Look, there are the only issue I ever had with Sam and Captain America, and I said this when I was watching the Falcon and the Winter Soldier series, is I understand why he chooses not to do it, but I would love for him to have some super soldier powers. I think that would really make his character shine for me. But I understand they want him to feel different than Steve Rogers, and by doing that, they make him more of a tech-based Captain America. And I understand, I get it. Me personally, that would be the only complaint I have because I like Sam. I think Sam was a fan favorite character until he put on the Captain America suit. And then all of a sudden, people started hating him.
I think that's
definitely
a response. I still like him.
Yeah, I mean, people hate everything. Some people hate. There's like, I mean, that's looking at things this way is not really helpful because, like, yeah, there's some people that hated it. There were some people that loved it. So I don't know.
Anytime there's change, you will get that.
Yeah, that's what I'd heard too. I mean, even before any controversy, even before October 7th or whatever, that was supposed to be the case that she was going to be very, very different. And then this CJH, man, what? How's it supposed to be basically Incredible Hulk 2 just because it's supposed to have the leader in it? That doesn't make it. I mean, they've done that before. These are villains that have in the comics. The villains go to, Kingpin is Daredevil's villain as well as Spider-Man's kind of thing.
Yeah, I don't know. All I know is that when they release a test screening, the purpose of that screening is to gauge the audience to make changes to the movie. That's the purpose of a test screening. So when people take that article and they run with it and go, "Oh, this is going to be a shit, it's going to be a disaster shit movie," woke this, woke that, awful this. It's like you fundamentally don't understand what a test screening is, or you're trying to astroturf. I'm going to go with the second one. You're probably trying to astroturf.
What? I don't think the general public is confused about this at all. Like
I think the general public loves animated Miles Morales movies. I think Sam Wilson's Captain America is fine.
Yeah, it's
I mean,
not. That's not a very.
We saw Steve give Sam the shield.
Yeah,
and then
I don't get it. I don't get
Captain
it.
America, so I don't understand. Yeah,
was he giving it to him to give to Bucky? I'm confused.
I remember when I saw that happen in the theaters, everybody came out going, Sam's going to be the next Captain America. Like, people were generally excited about it. And it's like, that's why it's so weird to me that now all of a sudden we've shifted to like, we're supposed to hate that now.
Yeah, exactly. Screwface. All right. So, by the way, somebody mentioned Doomcock because apparently he's doing Captain America 4 shit a lot. You know, I decided to call him Coomsock from now on. But I have a clip here that I found of like his real voice. You guys want to hear that? Yeah. Apparently he slipped up one time. He uploaded a video where he didn't do his effect or whatever. Somebody grabbed it as soon as they saw it, took it, screen recorded or whatever, and then the video was immediately taken down. But this remains.
The internet is forever.
Greetings, my friends. Thank you for watching this video. And if you would be so kind, please subscribe if you like what you see. Help our channel to keep growing and keep fighting the war to save pop culture.
Nice.
Wow, that was not what I expected.
Kind of takes the magic out of it, huh?
Yeah, like, look, I'll be honest. I don't like these kinds of channels in general. Like these weird, like, character channels where people pretend to be like a weird robot or something, and they're, talking about how much they hate stuff. I just don't get into it. I mean, I guess some people like no hate to like VTubers and stuff. It's not my thing.
Man, I'm literally finishing up a video where I use a avatar character.
Yeah, but it's not you don't play a character on your channel though, is what I'm saying. Like, I don't mind people playing a character, but when your entire channel is the character, it just doesn't work for me. I don't like it usually.
True. Would you like that one, Chariot?
I mean, I played characters. You remember my burgers, the anti-woke burgers?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Those anti-woke burgers are delicious.
Yeah, so and then somebody actually did it. And then somebody actually made anti-woke burgers. You remember that? It was on. It was fuck. Who was that? Who's the female Ben Shapiro? What's her name?
Oh, Brett Cooper.
Jen Shapiro. I don't know.
Yeah. I think it is her. She was doing one of her streams and she started advertising anti-woke meat, and I'm like, holy shit, holy fucking shit.
Okay, so all right, so Tony is, I guess, wanting to come on now, but like Sandman said a little while ago, he's ready to rumble, and see, that's kind of part of the problem, is because Tony's talking about theatrics, using terms like rumble, that and tells me that like there's some kind of like debate that he's wanting to happen, and I know that's he's from the Gamergate area, and that's kind of shit they like to do. I don't see the point in that. Like, I mean, if you're just going to dig your heels in and refuse any new information, then what are we doing, man? We're just like performing for an audience. And I'm not about that as much as like, I mean, yeah, it's part of it. Sure. But, can we just like present information and like be rational fucking adult human beings that
I'm sure he can come in and be chill. I mean, I feel like he could. I could be wrong. It's like, but
I just didn't, I didn't know what he expected, but he says he's cool taking on 4 or even 8 guys. So,
I mean,
that sounds like a mouthful, though. Okay,
that's more than me. Shout out to Tony on that. It's more than me.
Yeah.
I mean, I probably have to get going soon, so it would be 3. But
okay. Well,
so now you guys don't stand a chance.
It's true.
By the way, Turf, great video recently. The Death of Heroes video. That was a
thank you.
Video. Great video.
Thank you.
Definitely go check that out, guys.
I really want to get back to like getting, this is obviously off-stream talk, but I'm going to call you all out right now. Actually, y'all need to start, like whenever you got a new video, there's a channel in the goddamn server, post it there, and every week I will make sure to advertise your shit pre-stream. Like here's who on the initiative has new videos.
I was gonna say, Dane, you should be collecting all of our videos personally and then advertising them.
If you just make it a little bit easier for me, I will. I'm not gonna go check your channels all the time, but if you posted the thing, then I will go grab something and do the thing.
Okay, I'll remember.
Did you guys who's providing? Are we bringing Tony in? Is somebody providing him with the link, or?
I don't know how. I mean, you probably got easier access.
I
to him than me.
don't have a connection to him.
I mean, before I do it, I just wanted to make sure because I'm not sending links out to people like. You know.
Well, let's put a I guess some limits on this because I'm freaking hungry. I don't want to be on like another hour just like arguing a bunch of bullshit or anything. So
it's like a 30-minute thing, like no more than 30 minutes, I guess.
Yeah, that sounds fine.
All right, let me. I'll send him a link.
I feel very privileged to even be like named in the same sentence as Pillar. Because I feel like he's on
you're kind of his son, right? Like you're his son. I think that's who I think of it.
Yeah. Like, how did that happen?
Pillar's video. So I would say this. I'm really excited for no offense to our stuff, but Pillar, that video he just did was fucking.
Yeah, it's like that video is great, but it's also a little bit of a sense of pride knowing that like all of us kind of helped contribute to that because like he was going over so much stuff. It's like, hey, yeah.
You know, like and part of me, you know, if I was like a spiteful petty person, I could have been like, because I was like collecting that information, right? And Pillar's like, hey, tell me about that. I was like, okay, yeah. So this, and the next thing I know, here's this video, and it's like, hey, hold the fuck up, man. But no, I don't give a shit because like he presented the information so much better than I could have, and he did it in a timely manner and to much more people. So that's all I care about.
I just don't understand how he can do it.
Well, have a good night, Turf. Though, like before you go.
Yeah,
later, man.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Have a good one, Turf.
Yeah, everyone, and have a good conversation, and you too, Tony. Hope you're good.
We shall try,
and hope the chat is good. And I'll see you guys soon. Peace.
Later. Subscribe to Turf Nation. Yeah, the Phantom Pulse one as well as other stuff mentioned. But yeah, we got Tony. What's up, man?
Hey,
what's going on, gentlemen?
Tony himself has arrived. This is early day, Tony. Normally I talk to you at like 2 a.m, so this is early.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy.
I've never seen your picture up close. It's just like this frog just kind of chilling, huh? Okay.
Well, not usually, but you said you wanted to chill to relax.
I see.
Chill every time.
This is a relax.
Trying to disarm you guys. That way, you know, you're not ready for it.
The Chicano stand.
Joke's on you. I don't really have arms. Jokes on you. These are fake.
Yeah.
So first off, just right off the bat, the whole idea that I was rubbing my hands together, that was theatrics. That was just me having a good time. But you're framing it like if it's a reality. Do you think I want to argue with people on the internet all the time? I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that any more than you guys want to do that. I want to just have fun, enjoy my games.
That's great to hear. Hopefully, you will hear. You know, you will be receptive to the information and the that we're you know, and just kind of offering like skepticism to, which is a healthy thing to have on the internet.
Well, that's my whole position. My whole position is skeptical. I don't know what Sweet Baby Inc. is doing. I would love if the studios would just tell me, like, this is what they worked on and this is how they helped improve the game. I would be like,
they've done that. It's all right. The information.
No, they've done it in a very vague way. They said, yeah, they helped us and they made it better. I want specifics. I'm a really specific kind of guy, you know. So, saying that like Bob helped you is
get that specific though.
I know that's the problem.
I mean, but the thing is that there's no answer that I think would really satisfy you because it's like the presumption is there from the beginning. Like you're presuming that they have done and are doing something insidious. You were using the terms like evils and shit like that, and I'm sure that maybe that's theatrical or whatnot. But I mean, I'm not saying that you necessarily think it literally is evil. I don't know, but like
I think it's 100% evil to make an artist change their work in any way, shape, or form.
But they're not making an artist change. They haven't made anybody do anything.
Have evidence that they've done that.
That's the crux of it, right? It's like you think that they've made them do something, and that then by the developers coming out and saying no, they haven't made us do anything. That's also proof that they're making them do things. Because the lady terrorized one time or something like that is really
the lady said. She said if you're a game developer, Bob's a game developer. I'm gonna use Bob because he's on the screen and I need object permanence when I do things. But Bob's a game developer, right? And he goes, hey, you know what? I'd really want more diversity in these games. And he goes to his higher up and he goes, hey, Dane, can we put more diversity? And you shoot it down. I say, no, we don't need more diversity, Bob. We already got one black guy in the game. That's enough. So according to the lady from Sweet Baby Inc., Bob should then go to the marketing department and tell the marketing department, hey, if you guys don't give us some money to allocate us to get Sweet Baby Inc. in,
to help us diversify the game, there's going to be a big outrage on Twitter. Everybody's going to be mad. They're going to call us ists and phobes. She literally said terrify the marketing department so that way, because they have the money, they're the money people, that will give you money to allocate so Bob can go ahead and get Sweet Baby Inc. to come in and do their job. And so if that's what Sweet Baby Inc. is saying, Sweet Baby Inc. is saying, hey, developer, make sure that your company is scared so they hire us so we can come in. And their mission statement is to quote, diversify games.
No, right. But I mean, no, that's one part of many goals that they have with gaming. They do quite a few things. It's just that it's been zeroed in on the specifics of like that they're forcing it. And so as it clearly says, man, like they haven't made anybody do anything. People reach out to them. It's not
right. But I just gave you the example of how they basically put the system in place.
Hypothetical, kind of based on.
No, I gave you what the CEO said. I didn't come up with this scenario. The CEO said, and it's at her talk. You could watch the entire thing because I watched the entire talk, not just a little clip. The entire talk. She says, if you go to your boss and say, hey, we need a consulting firm to add diversity to our games, and he shoots you down, you go to the marketing department because they have the money, and you terrify the marketing department about the PR nightmare they will face, so that way they force the company to hire the consulting firm, which would be Sweet Baby Inc.
Dude, I need to know that you're not paraphrasing or anything, because it actually is important. The words that are exactly what's being said is very relevant. So, where's the clip?
You got to go to the GDC 2021 Sweet Baby Inc. If you just put it into the YouTube like that, I'm pretty sure it'll come up.
I mean, what you're saying, it's not like, I don't think it's great or anything, but at the same time, we're also dealing with a company saying, I would like to be hired, and here's tips to get us hired.
Right, but what I'm saying, Bob, is if they want to get hired, and if their goal is to do something, and they're convincing other companies how to get them to get hired, so then they're creating the system by which they could now get into a company and do the things they want to do, right? If I got to convince Bob how to hire me for the initiative, I'm going to convince Bob, right, how to get me into the fandom initiative, right? So I scare Bob so that way he convinces Dane to give me a job. And now that I'm in, I can do the things that I want to do inside the fandom initiative.
Did she? So she says terrorizing. Does she also say that you need to go on Twitter and call them a bunch of ists and phobes? Because is that said somewhere?
No, she says terrorize the marketing department about what would happen if they didn't hire the consulting firm.
All right, let's see.
I tried to find it. All I saw was something from Asmongold, and I don't want to pull his clip.
Right, there's a bunch of other stuff before.
Let me.
But like a couple of things.
Because we watched the whole clip on my stream.
Wouldn't the person be responsible for their own actions? Like, it seems weird to tell somebody to terrorize the marketing department to hire your company, and then that person loses all self-control and just has to do it. And I mean, there's a couple different levels in this outfit.
Wow, man! Look what I found here is it's a tweet where she says, "We terrorize gaming companies with cancel culture, so they will hire us." Wow, what seems pretty? I mean, this is probably like fake, I guess.
What?
I don't know. Like that. Yeah, but it's either fake or it's just the most fucking tongue-in-cheek, obviously, just saying exactly what people are expecting of them or how people are portraying them.
Oh,
like I'm not.
Sounds like theatrics.
Yeah, theatrics. What? But it's only okay in certain contexts, right? I don't know. So is she Bagel of Death on Twitter? Is that who she is?
I have no idea.
One of them has their Twitter locked. I don't know which one that is, but I tried to follow them the other day and their Twitter's locked. So I can't really see what their tweets are.
All right.
Like I said, my whole contention is I don't want any artists to be forced to change their stuff, whether it's to change it less diverse or more diverse. I want artists.
Well, man, I don't think that should. I don't think they should be forced to change anything either. But can you show us where anybody has been forced to change anything?
Can I show you? No, because I don't have access to the inside.
Because you don't have any evidence of this actually being something that happens, and yet you run with that narrative.
Have you ever worked at a game company, Dane?
Have you ever understood?
Have you ever worked at a game? It was a real quick question, and you just got really silent. Have you ever worked at a game company?
Shut the fuck up, Tony. You're sidestepping the fucking point because you don't have any goddamn evidence, and this is exactly.
Well, I'm gonna give you evidence right now because I'm gonna answer the question. I have worked at a game. I have worked for a game company.
That doesn't
Dave.
matter. It's fucking irrelevant. It's fucking irrelevant, dude.
How is it irrelevant? You haven't even told the story, so how is it irrelevant? You said don't yell, and now you're yelling at me. I just came and asked a simple question. And
Tony, real quick, like you.
Did you work for a fucking company, a developer that fucking that Sweet Baby Inc. No, your story is not relevant to this situation. Evidence of the claim that you're making.
Your story is anecdotal, and you would need like hundreds of anecdotal to actually show like a pattern.
Well, first off, it's very rude to mute someone's mic and then just say a bunch of stuff that they can't rebut. That's first off,
dude. Because you were fucking yelling, and I literally couldn't talk on my own fucking podcast. That's very rude. So you keep doing that, then I'll keep doing it, man. I don't care. You're not gonna fucking set the rules on my channel. I'm sorry, dude.
You swore at me. I asked you a question that you didn't want to answer, and then when I tried to answer the question on my own behalf, because you then muted me. So again, I worked as a writer for a small studio, right? And what I wrote was not anything that there was no guidelines. They didn't say, hey, this is the story of the game. They just said, hey, we need you to write 30 scenarios for this game. And I wrote it, and I created brand new characters that were never introduced into this game before. And from that, the game studio, the developers then had to create assets and stuff to put in the things that I created. I was not asked to create it. I wasn't told to create it. I wasn't even given permission to create it. I just did it on my own accord because it fit the story that I was telling as I was writing the scenarios. So what I'm saying is, I'm telling you that to say this. If Sweet Baby Inc. is coming in and offering help in writing scenarios and doing stuff, is it not a possibility that they could add things in that then the developers then have to add to their games because of what is written? I mean, if they say, hey, hold on. See, I can't even finish a thought.
You asked the question, I'm answering it, dude. It's not possible because they've literally said that they don't get any say-so in the final fucking game. And they also, the way you're framing it is just, it's a false premise, man. I'm sorry, but they don't come in there.
So if you hire me to write, and I write Spider-Man swings past a gay...
They don't come in there and fucking offer their services. They are asked by the developers to come in and work on elements of diversity that already fucking exist, man. You need to slow down and listen to the words that are fucking said when people talk, man. Is this like, I mean, I noticed that you have a fucking problem like reading certain things. Like you didn't even know what DEI meant. You couldn't think of the fucking acronym in your video, dude. Like, I'm sorry, you probably don't know what it means if you can't even think of the acronym. You're just fucking, basing this off of feels, bro.
So diversity, equity, and inclusion. Because one time I stuttered on a video I made, I don't know what DEI is. Wow, it's great. So as I was saying, if the Sweet Baby Inc. comes in and they're tasked to write scenarios, and if they say, hey, in the scenario, Spider-Man swings across a building and the building has a pride flag because it's a pride celebration, do you think the developers are going to be like, no, we're not going to put that in? They're just going to exclude that? No, they're going to put the pride flag onto the thing as part of the scenario.
Now that you ask a question, I'm going to mute you so I can fucking answer. You've just described a scenario that there's no evidence that that's actually what happened whatsoever. You're creating a fantasy, and then you're saying, oh, you can't, of course, you can't disprove that this fantasy didn't happen. It's fucking nonsense, dude. Like you're living like, like Chariot said it. I mean, I'm not Chariot, that's somebody else, maybe. Oh, no, it was Chariot. Tony's living in a fucking fantasy world. That's it, dude. Like you're basing this on just like these fucking like huge assumptions that because there's pride flags in a video game, and then because Sweet Baby Inc. exists and they worked on this, that they must be the ones that are responsible. And never mind the fact that this doesn't have anything to do with the quality of the game, which was very successful and people fucking love it, but that doesn't fit the narrative either. Like,
okay, so first off, I didn't say the thing that you just attributed to me. I didn't say that. I was offering a hypothetical to give you an example of how possibly Sweet Baby Inc. could be influencing games. That's all I was doing.
I can offer all kinds of shit about how like Ethan Van Sciver's got his hand up your ass and fucking working you like a puppet to shill for him.
You could 100%.
I would actually have more.
That's your prerogative.
Probably true than what you have for this. So,
but again, as someone who worked for a game studio who's added things into the game that wasn't there, all I said was hypothetically, could you not see a possibility that this happened? I didn't say it did, and I didn't say that's what's going on. All I said is this is a possibility. I am simply asking the companies if you're being accused of adding stuff into games. And you're saying Sweet Baby Inc. does good things and you like what they do. Show me the good things they do so I can get behind Sweet Baby Inc. and I can rally for those companies.
I think my position is that they do good things and I like what they do. I haven't played a single one of the games that they've worked on.
I think Eric wants to talk.
Go ahead, DJ.
I was just gonna say, because there's a lot happening, it's all coming very quickly here.
My bad.
No. I wanted to say that I think there's a difference between defending the actions of the employees of Sweet Baby Inc. and what Sweet Baby Inc. provides as a service.
Absolutely.
I think those are two different things. So for me, I don't agree with some of the actions that the people of Sweet Baby Inc. have done outside of their game consultations. Like, I think going after people, trying to shut down the list, attacking people on social media and everything. I hate that they felt they had to do that, but I don't agree with those actions. However, I think a consultation firm that provides information for companies that may want to make sure the diversity in their games is done properly, if they want to include it, I think is a good service. And that's not talking about like whether or not they go in and rewrite stuff or whatever. I think a consultation firm is a valid service to exist if they are in fact going in and just consulting on the aspects of the game that they're being hired to do the job on. Because I don't agree with like going after and trying to shut down the list. All of those products were found on their website, so you could have literally just copy and pasted that from that website to the Steam.
I mean, the list speaks for itself anyway, considering the fact that the guy has admitted he didn't play any of the games, and he's just like, he's got these vibes of wokeness from them, and so he put together a list, and it's like, and now you got people like there's legit saying that if there's anything that kind of has a woke vibe to it, then that must be Sweet Baby Inc., even if they're not like, claiming that they worked on the game. So it's just this is the reason that I have a problem with, just like getting on a stream and just saying shit that without any evidence and suggesting or even outright saying that they are doing some nefarious evil thing when there's no evidence of it, because you've got idiots, people that are much dumber than you, Tony, that are like, oh, that means everything woke is this company. These 16 people are fucking influencing the entire game industry now. It's, it just kind of seems, I don't know, man, irresponsible to say the least. But,
I will agree with DJ Eric's point, right? Look, if you're bringing them in to consult, if you're bringing them in of your own accord, right? Again, if this is 100%, you decided, hey, we're going to put this in and we want someone to help us consult on it, no problem, no foul, right? But if, as the lady said, the lady suggested, you go to your guy and the guy says, no, I don't want that in the game. For whatever reason, the head of the studio says, I don't want to do that. And then you turn around and do terrify your marketing department, and you get Sweet Baby Inc. in. I think that's harming the industry.
Okay, can I ask you a question about that, Tony? Can I ask you a question about that? Is there a account of that actually happening? Like, is there a studio that came out and said we were forced by Sweet Baby Inc. to do this?
No, but I would really don't think any company's going to come out and say that.
You're probably right, but I'm saying, like, wouldn't that add a bit more like weight to the argument that they are doing that just because?
100%.
So previously, so let's run with this just as a thought exercise. Previously, I would, if we're going to say that that's something that might have happened, that the whole thing is like they've created this environment of fear because they don't want to say anything, that they're being forced to do this because they're going to get called ists and phobes on Twitter or whatever. Okay, that's sure, but now you've got some outspoken segment of people that are definitely against Sweet Baby Inc. and against whatever they do, and they're going to So the environment has changed. Why wouldn't one of these companies come out now? Whenever, like, yeah, they might still get called istinophobe by some people, but there's going to be some people that are in their corner. You know what I mean? Like they'd have a fight on their hands, so to speak. So why wouldn't they come out now and say that that's what's happening?
Probably the same reason why when the first Gamergate happened, no one was coming out to say, hey, in fact, what you guys were saying was actually true.
Because it wasn't true. It wasn't true then.
It wasn't true that Nathan Grayson wrote an article in which he promoted a friend and did not disclose the relationship that he was in fact a friend with the person. That didn't happen. Because that's exactly why Gamergate started.
Sure, if there was something going on with that one incident, sure, but then it became like this whole thing where it's focused on women and what women are doing with their, in the bedroom.
No, that's what a bunch of weirdos focused on. That's not what Gamergate focused on.
This is the problem with attaching yourself to like a hashtag like that, a movement like that, is that like you take on the qualities of all of it, man. Like it's it just, you go on Wikipedia. What does it say? Gamergate's a harassment campign. You may say no, it wasn't. I wasn't part of that, and you probably weren't.
Go to the FBI report on it, and it says there was no harassment.
There was harassment though. I mean, what are you talking about? There was no harassment. Of course there was.
Well, the FBI report, when it investigated the harassment claim, says there was none. There was no bomb threats. There was no nothing.
I mean,
It
bomb
is
threat
accurate.
is not the same thing as harassment. So I don't think that's accurate at all. Anyway, yeah, mine too, Lewis. Mine too, to be honest. I think we probably all agree on that, right, Tony?
Oh, I love Eric. He's great.
He's the best. So there we go. We got a little agreement.
I haven't
there.
really streamed with Bob or you, so I don't know.
Well,
I guess Turf Nation would be my second best because he's not here to sour me.
Yeah, he was too scared, man. I think that's what it was. No, he's like he lives in fucking another dimension. It's like you have to cross over a certain window of time when the portal opens and shit. So that's where he's at. But no, I mean I can imagine a lot of stuff, man. Like you were like talking about if you can imagine if this and this. I can imagine a lot of things, and that's why I find it important to have things to support these things. If there were any evidence that Sweet Baby Inc. was actually creating some hostile fucking environment amongst developers, like that these 16 people are somehow have leveraged over these massive, I'm talking like some of the biggest fucking entertainment companies in the goddamn world that make it, so much money, more money than fucking God. Like if they somehow had that kind of influence over them, that they have them fucking shitting their pants at being called ists and phobes or whatever, despite the fact that they also have teams and teams of lawyers that could, fight against that type of shit if it was really a problem. If there was evidence of that, if it made any sense at all to even to entertain, I would, man. But I've tried to, like I do with anything. I know you guys probably see my content or what Bob's or whatever, and you think we're just like.
I'd actually watch you guys' content.
Well, I mean, generally, like I say, you guys. I mean, people that don't like our content or what we have to say, right? We do try to as best we possibly can find any valid fucking firm ground in the claims and stuff that come out of the content that we criticize, and we'll say if somebody has a good point or whatever. But very often it's just it's shallow at the very least, and just in bad faith and dishonest in other cases.
Well, did you see the clip of the CEO of Sweet Baby Inc. saying how she helps get people into companies, protects them while they're in the companies, in the hopes that they would completely change the industry from the inside?
What's wrong with that?
Did I say anything was wrong? Did I say that there was a
I didn't see that, but I mean, if I'm
I actually saw the clip. Like I've been keeping up with these little bit of clips. I saw that, and my whole take on it is, I think if the shoe were on the other foot, a lot of people wouldn't be complaining. If they were trying to go into the companies and make them more conservative, make them less diverse, make them more right leaning, we wouldn't have people coming out and complaining about it. So I feel like
you're probably right. I would complain because I don't like anyone.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm not saying everybody. I'm saying that there's a lot of people who actively dislike it, not because it is changing the gaming companies. It's what they're doing to the gaming companies. And if that's your position, that's fine. But I do believe that for me, like as someone who buys games, who doesn't work in the gaming industry, who doesn't know any of the shit behind the scenes or whatever, in the creative process from A to Z, I only care about what I get, what I buy, like what I purchase and what's on my system and what's on my computer. So if person A decided that this character should be black, or person B decided this character should be black, it doesn't matter to me as a consumer. What matters to me is what I buy and what I purchase. And if I don't like what that company's making, I just won't buy their products anymore.
Right. Yeah, I mean,
that's for me personally.
Are you a fan of Elon
So
Musk?
who's getting the kid? That's what I want to know. Because Chariot said if I answer the question, the Fandom Initiative gets the kid.
What question? I was in the other room taking a delivery.
It's the one on the screen. That's why.
On screen. Yeah, real quick, I want to ask you: are you a fan of Elon Musk? Twitter, him having bought Twitter.
Having bought Twitter?
Yeah.
Don't affect me in any way. I barely use Twitter. Okay. I just antagonize people. I antagonize Matt Barr on Twitter. That's what I use it for.
Fair enough.
Really.
Okay. Well, I mean, it's just because I was going to say that's the example of a guy who went into an industry and changed it. You know what I mean? I mean, of course, Twitter is an industry of its own in a way, but like, yeah, it's the kind of exactly what DJ was saying. It's like basically in another context, this is actually seen as a good thing. Disruptors of industries are seen as a fucking positive thing in many cases. Opening it up to, so really it comes down to the thing that's different being, quote unquote wokeness, which we know what that really means. And that, and then you wonder why people want to say ist and faux, but I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying it's kind of like you shouldn't be too, confused about.
I used to say it a lot more. Now I'm a little bit more nuanced in how I apply it, but I do think the people that I have applied it to, I feel personally that they are, but there's a lot of people that are just have those talking points that aren't necessarily totally committed to all of that, and I understand.
I always try to distinguish between like that's a racist talking point and like you're a racist. Those are two different things. You know what I mean?
They are. You can say something and not be that thing. So, for example, I can say something stupid and not be stupid, but I could be stupid. I mean, it's possible. It's a possibility of that. You know, the jury's still out.
I want to rewind the conversation a little bit because Tony, you brought up how the FBI found that there's no harassment between with Gamergate, and I don't know if you would agree with Commentsgate, but like I've heard that argument several times, and I always thought it was interesting, so I decided to look into it. And apparently, one of the qualifications for the FBI to qualify as harassment is traveling across state lines. Otherwise, it's a state crime. What do you think about that?
So,
well, I think about their qualification for harassment. I think it probably needs to be
For the
updated.
FBI to consider harassment has to cross state lines.
Right, I just said I think it needs to be updated.
Well, that's what the FBI is about, right? Like they're federal. There has to be something that's just outside of.
Well,
a
I
state
always hear the example being FBI, and that there's this huge loophole why the FBI wouldn't consider that.
So was there harassment charges or anything filed in a different jurisdiction?
No, I haven't looked into
That would be that'd be.
I have no
interesting.
idea.
Yeah, and that just goes to show that like framing a point a certain way can be true and seem in like it shuts down that argument entirely. But like there was harassment. Literally fucking what's her name? Brianna Wu. She's a big piece of shit. But like the fact is her and her family were harassed and they had to fucking Zoe Quinn too had to fucking move. Like they didn't just make this shit up. They weren't just like performatively leaving their homes. You know what I mean? To try and get clout points or something like that. It happened.
Do you want me to answer this question now, or?
Oh yeah, sure. Sorry, let me put it back up. My bad.
Yeah, I was reading that. I'm like, I don't think that's for me.
All right, question for Tony: are people who work at companies allowed to convince their higher ups that a different course of action would be more profitable? Wow, this is a trick question, but I'm going to answer it anyway.
That's pretty straightforward. I feel like.
No, actually, it's not straightforward because the answer is yes. Obviously, the answer is yes, but they're going to apply what I say to what I said previously. Now, it's okay if I convince Bob. I go, "Hey, Bob, would be a better course of action to make us money." That's fine. If I say, "Hey, Bob, we're going to call you ist and phobe on Twitter, and you're going to lose a lot of money unless you do the things I want," I think that's not fine. You see, both are convincing Bob a course of action would be more profitable, but in one, it's kind of a favorable way, and in the other, it's kind of a negative way. And I think the favorable way would be the way to go, right? If I could convince you why it's a good thing, I think that's acceptable. If I can convince you why doing this would stop you from having a negative thing happen to you, I think that's bad. So, hey, Bob, it'd be a real shame if someone came into your house and kicked over all your furniture unless you put me in the fandom initiative. See, that's convincing, but that's not really.
Let me go ahead and say I agree with you, but do you have evidence of this actually happening or just people being hyperbolic?
Well, no, that's what we answered earlier. I think he said there wasn't any because they wouldn't come out and say it, which is probably true. But my point is that also that would add weight to the argument, and I think Tony agrees with that, right? That would
like I said, I just want information. And if a company would say, "Hey," because the companies are saying, Dane's not saying, I'm saying the companies are saying that Sweet Baby Inc. is doing good things. That's why they hire them. And if a company went, "Here's Spider-Man. We worked on Spider-Man. Sweet Baby Inc. worked on it. Here's the original scenario that we did, and here's the improvement that Sweet Baby Inc. did." We could all agree that this is an improvement. Look what they did. Look what they helped.
Well, I mean,
at that I would be all behind it.
At that point, like, man, you're talking about like some dude. Let's fucking take a step back and look at the whole timeline here. Some dude who has not played any of these games just had some, based on his fucking vibes, decided that these games are woke, and they're done. This game's done by Sweet Baby. This to be, and then he makes a list, right? And so because of this dude who had not even enough interest in the games to actually fucking play them, right? So he clearly has some incentive to do this that is not the quality of the games themselves, right? I mean, it's just obvious. And what was his incentive? Let's say it's going to be because he's anti-woke, right? So if somebody can just decide something is anti-woke, or that something is woke, and that he's going to fucking put them on blast and make a list, and then, and any response that comes from them is not enough. You have to go further and further. You're going to, we're going to fucking dig up all your old tweets. We're going to look into all your employees. We're going to fucking, put every single thing you've ever said under a fucking microscope until you fucking show us exactly what you fucking did in each one of these games. That's not a little fucked up to you?
And I also want to stress, like you're looking for a chart that likely really wouldn't exist because all this stuff would get tangled up as the game goes by. It's a huge process. You might be able to pick out one or two things, but like a chart like Sweet Baby Inc. did this, the game did this, you're not going to find that because it's all going to get tangled up.
So like what I just described is literally
one or two things
that's what you're doing. That's what you're part of. This little fucking attempt at a Gamergate sequel going on, Electric Boogaloo.
Right. That was a great little soliloquy you did there, Dana. I applaud you. But you forgot the part where when he made the after he made the list, how he got attacked and they were trying to get rid of his Steam account and
who's they by who?
And, the Sweet Baby Inc. people. What was his name? Forget the guy's name. But the guy who worked there basically is like, this guy made a list and we all need to target him and report his account. And then he got his account reported on Twitter and he threw a fit about it.
So that was a Sweet Baby Inc. employee that said that?
I think an ex-employee, but no, I don't think they work there anymore. But I don't know if they worked there when they made the thing or whatever. But yeah.
No, they worked there when they made it. I don't know if they worked there. Chris Kinder,
yeah. I don't know if they still work for Sweet Baby Inc. But again, like I said, I can disagree with that action, but still agree that the company is operating, under normal circumstances.
Well, I mean, yeah, it really still, even if it was an actual employee that did that and said that, like, it's still, so go after, like, deal with that employee, man. Like, it's not like none of this is still like evidence of like, no, that now we definitely need to fucking hold this little ass company to account, because once again, let me reiterate that you're talking about 16 people that somehow have sway over the fucking biggest entertainment industry in the world, video games. Like,
what was the question? They said Tony deflected. What was the initial question? I don't remember what the question was.
If an employee was allowed to convince their company to do a course of action that would increase profits. I'm paraphrasing, but that was
that was the question. Okay. All right.
So yeah. Anyway, we're about to hit the half-hour mark. So I feel like we once we got past that initial communication kerfuffle. All right, things went all right.
GM Morgan, I assume the worst in everybody. That's why I'm a Catholic.
Well,
that's what the religion's based
but you're
on,
supposed to assume the worst of yourself when you're a Catholic, man. Come on, like
I do. I'm terrible. I'm a horrible person.
Right. Fair enough.
Have you not seen my streams?
I mean, honestly, dude, like I said not too long ago, we watched the clip of where you looked at the Suska sisters bullshit, and it's like, I was genuinely pleasantly surprised with your takes on how fucked up they were with that girl that ended up dying from different situation, but still that girl was exploited and fucked over. And then you got to the end of that video though, where it's like, here's the worst part, and you're like, it's a poster. And I was like, wait a second, the poster's not worse than the human girl who was fucking abused, man. Sorry, I got to disagree there, but that's all right.
I don't remember saying that. Probably sounds like something I would say, but I think you.
It's probably theatrics. Yeah, you're kind of like
I say things to be funny sometimes, and sometimes people
believe
don't
me.
catch the
I
humor.
get it. Me too. Chunky Monkey incident to 2023, 2022, whatever. Like
Chunky Monkey Gate. Chunky Monkey Gate. That's what that was.
Jesus Christ.
I don't know if we actually accomplished much today, but it was quite interesting. I have to say that. My position on it is, again, I'll say that, as a consumer of the products, I just buy things. As someone who buys games and plays them, the inner workings of the game doesn't totally matter to me unless it's unethical. And then that's when it gets close to that. And that's the argument they're having here, is that there's some sort of ethical issue with like how Sweet Baby Inc. is going about doing it. But then there's no actual proof of that happening, just statements made by people that work at Sweet Baby Inc. and conjecture from people who think that might be going on. So all I can do from the outside as someone that buys the products is determine if I like the end result, and if I don't, then I just don't buy from those companies anymore.
But like, so
that's my
for
position
example,
on it.
My position is that if I see something, I check claims. I'm not just like rejecting everything I see. So when I see people that are like, some journalists came into the Discord and tried to dox people in the Discord, I'm like, oh, that's fucked up. Shouldn't do that. And I look into it. She was just asking people's names. And like, you want to give your name for like this, for whatever she was writing or whatever. It's like, that's not doxing. That's just not what doxing is. It's like,
no, I think it was a little more than just asking for names. She goes, why are you people using avatars and fake names? I want to, what's your real names?
I mean, I can see it, but I mean, that's still not doxing. Even if that's weird thing to
Well,
ask.
I mean, it's an attempt. It's not doxing, but it's an attempt to ask
Not
people.
really. I
their
mean,
real
because
identities.
if somebody gives their identity, that's not a doxing. That's someone giving their identity. That's someone revealing it themselves.
No, that's not
Doxing
doxing, but asking for it would be an attempt
So-
to get you to dox yourself.
Well, I mean, but it's not.
Not-
I mean,
if you give it,
can't
that's
dox
not
yourself.
doxing.
To be honest, like you just fucking you can give your
I
information.
think
out.
you
do
can
that, that's
dox
on
it.
you.
Well, I mean, if you ask me what's my real
mean-
name, and I would be like, that's kind of fucked up. Why would you do that?
I mean, if I'm on stream, I accidentally show my home address. Yeah, that's accidentally doxing myself. But if somebody
Sure.
asks me for my address and I give it to them, unless
Yeah.
they reveal it somewhere else, no.
But I mean, so that's the kind of thing. Like, I
I'm
just
pretty
see a
sure
lot
she
of
was going to reveal
hyperbolic
it
language.
in articles.
If
But-
they would have revealed their names
Didn't, yeah.
willfully, intentionally, consensually, then sure, I'm sure she would have. Yeah, because that's what that's what. But they didn't, so that's fine. No problem came of it. It's just like this creating this panic over. Like,
true.
so she tried to do this.
All
It's
right,
like
well,
nothing
let
came of
me
this.
ask you this, Dane.
That's
Let
true.
me ask you this. Hold on. Let me ask this because I think we're all in this weird. What is doxing? Okay, so if I know your real name, right? But you go by actual fandom on YouTube, but I know your real name, and I'm a journalist and I write an article. Do you think it's doxing for me to use your real name? Dane, actual fandom, whatever your real name is, runs this channel, and I write an article about you. Do you think that you consider that doxing?
If I have, I mean, it can get kind of messy there, sure. But like, if I have not, offered
we'll
it
go with
myself,
quartering,
then-
like quartering. Jeremy Hamley. Everybody knows his name, but he doesn't use it, right? So
Right.
don't you think it's a little iffy to put his real name in the article when it's not necessary?
No,
I mean,
because I
that's
think
not
that
at
to
this
me,
point.
doxing is something that, like, if there's a reasonable assumption that, like, you have done a element of effort to keep this information from being public, like I have my name, and then someone were to find it and put it out there or whatever, then that's actually doxing. If I were to offer that, then that's not doxing. If there's other gray areas, like let's say somebody that knows me, personally or whatever, like, oh, I know that guy, that's blah blah, and then like, well, fuck, you just doxed me, but like maybe they didn't know that I was not revealing my full name or whatever the hell, so like it's just calling it doxing when it's so clearly not in that example is contributing to this kind of victim narrative of gamers, right? And that's the kind of goes to the whole gamer.
Well, if it's not doxing, I don't know what to call it, but I think it's a little scummy, in my opinion. If you use someone's real name who doesn't use it,
If someone's antagonistic towards you and asks for your real name and you give it, they're clearly being
okay. How do you feel about dead naming? Dead naming is wrong, right? Like we could all agree that.
I
right?
mean,
I don't
I'm
think
not
it's
a
a good idea.
fan, but
Right?
yeah.
Because they prefer to use a particular name, and that's how they present themselves, right?
Well, it's 'cause
So
of
if
what
I
their
present
name is
myself
that
as
now.
Frog Tony, and then you use my real name because you know it, or you see it on a document because I've done other things, and my name is out there. But if you wrote an article about me and used my real name, wouldn't that be akin to dead naming? Wouldn't that be the same? Like you're using this purposefully to be an asshole to me because you know my real name, you know it's out there, and you know I don't want it to be used. I would prefer Frog Tony, but
is your
you're using
name
my real name.
legally changed to Frog Tony?
So I have to have my name legally changed before you consider something dead naming?
Well, I mean, that'd make the dead naming equivalent accurate.
So if I don't change my name, but I go by, say I'm like Antoinette. I want you guys to call me Antoinette, and then you guys call me Tony. And you're like, well, you didn't legally change your name, so I didn't dead name you. You would still be assholes for doing it, right?
So okay,
Come
so
on.
we got right here a definition. The action or process of searching for and publishing private or identifying information about a particular individual on the internet, typically with malicious intent. So, I mean, it's...
That's what I said. I said, okay, it's not doxing, but it's still a little scummy, right? To use my real name when I prefer you not to.
We can have a conversation about what it is and the problems that might come along with it, but like we can't do that as long as we're using language like doxing, right? Because everybody's got a
That's why I
specific...
said, well, it's not doxing. We need to come up with a new, because it's scummy. Can we all agree that using my real name, and I prefer not it to be used, is scummy?
I mean, depending on the context, man, depending on the scenario, sure.
I don't see a scenario or a context where it would be okay.
Okay. All right.
I mean, unless you want something bad to happen to me and you're okay with that, right? Like if you're like, hey, I really want someone to look up Jeremy, so I'm going to use his real name in the article instead of the quartering, which he goes by. Everyone knows who he is. It's not like if you put the coordinate, like, oh, everyone's like, oh, who's that?
I think for me, it's all
Okay.
about intent. It's all about intent. Let me explain why. You have accounts like Libs of TikTok, right? Where they just post stuff, right? They post that with the intent for people to harass and bother someone. Is it technically doxing? No. But they do that with the intent to have somebody harassed or harmed. So in that regard, no, I don't agree with that, obviously. But it's also not, for me, it's not doxing. You know what I mean? Like it's two different things. Now, if they provide someone's address or phone number or legal name that is not anywhere on their, that's posted anywhere publicly or whatever, then to me, that is what doxing is. But I don't think either of those are good things. You know what I mean? I don't think either one of those are good. I don't think you should be posting people's content with the sole purpose to funnel people to harass someone. I don't think that's good.
In context of talking about the Sweet Baby Inc. thing, it's like then you're part of the function of like focusing on this doxing thing becomes like, okay, so now that's the issue at hand, and no longer are we talking about the original thing, which let's keep in mind was just some dude that made a list based on games he'd never played because some vibes, and now it's searching for a controversy when originally there really wasn't one, and it really wasn't. And it's just become like, okay, we need something to, because if you had a real juicy actual fucking controversy with some evidence, you wouldn't need to focus on what this journalist said or whatever the hell. You would be focused on the fucking controversy, the harm being caused by Sweet Baby Inc. and how it's just devastating the video game industry and stuff like that. But
destroying
because
it with woke.
Yeah, right. I'd love to see some evidence of that. As far as I can tell, the video game industry is doing all right.
You didn't catch the sarcasm when I said that, did you?
I think that.
Okay, so you agree the video game industry is doing okay and it's not being destroyed by woke?
I don't even know what woke is. To tell you the truth, I don't know.
I agree.
Like I said, my position has always been, and it is strictly artist focused, right? I don't want artists to compromise on their art. That's why I don't like censorship. That's why I don't like mistranslations. That's why I prefer that if a game were to come over and they had to censor it for whatever reason, that it doesn't come over. Don't censor it.
So would you agree that if a game goes to another country that it also should not be censored, like with American stuff? Like we have things over here that don't necessarily appeal to like Asian markets or stuff like that, that it should just be exactly how it is in another country. Like you would agree with that?
Yeah,
like
because
movies and TV shows?
if you want it, if you want that product, you should be wanted the way it is, right? The way it was made.
I agree with that.
So let's say, let me throw a hypothetical at you. Let's say that a video game has been written. They're about to start, like, I guess, I don't know the process really, but like, I assume it's written and then they start building the damn thing, around that. But like, they're about to start on the actual building of the video game, and then somebody comes along and says, "Hey, I read what you got, the story you got for this script, and let's see, the gun that you have this character using, that's not accurate. That's this bullshit idea of whatever the gun is or whatever. So like, what it would really be is this, and then here's the technical specifications for this gun in real life. So like, I really strongly suggest." And they go, "Oh, okay, yeah, we're going to change this to make it more, accurate to real life." Is that censorship?
No, I think that doesn't affect the artistic merit of the product. It'd be like saying if you said, "Hey, I'm going to make a game based on DJ Eric, and I got him in a blue shirt, and he never wears blue shirts." And you're like, "Oh yeah, I didn't realize that, so I changed it to red." It doesn't change the artistic intent of the game.
But the color of a character's skin does?
It could potentially, because if you take a character so I make Bob's the character that I made, and you go, "You know what? Let's make Bob black." And I go, "Okay, well now we got to change the whole background of the character. So he has a different lived experience in order to make it authentic to the African American." Because again, we were all making an authentic character, right? Bob's background is not going to be the same.
I mean, potentially, but you could.
But then we're going to get accused, Bob. If I just make it, then it'll just be blackface because I just turned it. It'll be like when they said Miles Morales was just a black Peter Parker, right?
Welcome, Chariot.
Hello, Chariot.
Hello. I'm so happy to be here. Thanks for having me. Sorry, I hate bullying people into bringing me on streams and stuff. And I also want to apologize to Bob. I'm so sorry. I said your name twice in chat when I meant Tony. I didn't mean to slander you. That's my bad.
Oh no,
that was so rude. I was acting real ignorant and being a real doofus. But I just had a couple things, and I'm gonna keep it. I don't know, with a
100?
chill vibe, and not be like, too goofy. But I guess the two things, I was the person. So hi Tony, hello, how you doing?
What's up?
I was the person in chat who asked the question.
I know. I recognize the name.
Yeah, thank you. So the thing that I wanted to say about that was the way that you phrased your response, and I was really interested. I will, unfortunately, now I'm losing out on one firstborn child because I was just so invested. I really wanted to know.
I'll take half.
Yeah. The thing that really had me going there for a second was the nature of your response to that question was really provocative, because I thought, when you said that there's a difference, right? There's like two different ways that you can go about something like that. On the one hand, you can say, hey, wouldn't it be a good idea, like if I'm on a project, let's say I'm working on a video game and I've got a boss, he's like managing the project, and I go to him and I'm like, hey, we're working on this project, but I really think we should hire these Sweet Baby Inc. people, like that would be really cool. And then my boss is like, nah, we shouldn't really do that. Well, too bad, so sad, I guess we missed that opportunity. Or alternatively, I could say, maybe I want to go over his head. Maybe I want to see if there's another way I can make this happen. And I go to the marketing department and I get them to talk to somebody who talks to somebody who talks to my manager or my boss. And what I impress upon them is, we could lose a lot of money and it could be really bad PR if this isn't handled correctly. Well, the issue I have with taking issue with that, right, is that, first of all, it's being framed as something that in that instance would be the fault of the people at Sweet Baby Inc., when in the reality, the person who's doing that is me. I'm on that project making that argument. Now you can say, well, they're advocating for that, but I don't think that there's a problem with impressing upon somebody who works at your company that your company might incur bad PR or financial losses. If we're against that, then I just kind of feel like companies would lose a lot more money. That would make advocating for, protecting against potential losses really difficult.
Well, I hear you. But let's flip the script for a second. What if I go to the PR people, to the marketing, and say, hey, you know what? It would be really bad if we put that gay character in the game, because all the gamers are going to get mad. There's going to be bad PR. So let's make sure that doesn't happen. Wouldn't that equally be as bad? As sinister?
I would argue no. I do see where you're coming from on that. My argument would be that sometimes I think out of principle I'd be in favor of that. I don't have a principle in favor of not having diversity in games. I do have a principle in favor of gay representation because I'm invested in that. So for me, that's the difference, right? Is that if somebody is, let's just hypothetically, let's say that there's a homophobic response to a gay character being in the game. Let's say otherwise the writing is great, any other factors, just so we can isolate the representational element. If that is the case, then bending to that homophobic response, maybe we'd lose money, that's true, but at least we're holding tight to some kind of principle about not endorsing homophobia. So in that case, I'd say that I think it's qualitatively a little bit different.
Okay, but what if, and again, we're in the lands of hypothetical. What if, you have a pre-established character, and now you're advocating for that character to be changed. In the case of Alan Wake 2, we had a female character that was shown off, identified as Saga Anderson. A white actress was cast for the commercial, a little teaser. Something happens between then and when the game is made. At some point in that process, Sweet Baby Inc. was brought in, and the character then became African American. Don't you think that might be an issue?
I am not aware of any confirmation that Sweet Baby Inc. was responsible for that change.
That's why I said somewhere they came in.
You're saying just hypothetically if they were,
that
if we could isolate for that.
Yeah.
So if they did change it, I guess I don't have any problem in a vacuum with changing a character's identity, you know. So again, like if there was some other like element married to it, right? Like let's, you know, again, we're like you said, land a hypothetical. So I'm just gonna kind of reinforce what I think would be a strong argument for what you're saying. You know, if somebody is doing something deleterious to the company, like if they're, I don't know, really harassing people, you know, not just saying, hey, we could lose money, but like, you know, if you don't make this character black, you know, I am going to badmouth you on social media, just in a vacuum, you know, I like with no provocation otherwise, you know, then, okay, like I can see you might have a problem. Although if I was going to, you know, criticize somebody for that, I'd want to see proof of them doing it.
So is the hypothetical that so I don't think it's hypothetical because I do believe that they did change a character. Not Sweet Baby Inc., but I think there was a character change from like the promos to the game with Alan Wake. Is that correct, Tony?
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
No, I don't think it was because
it wasn't. It wasn't.
No, it was. Hold on, Dane, you're wrong. It was Saga Anderson. There was a teaser trailer in the game Quantum Break, in which Alan Wake 2 teaser was done. Sam Lake and a Ukrainian actress, Finnish actress, an actress, white lady, blonde hair, was in the teaser. They were identified on Twitter by Sam Lake, the writer of Quantum Break and Alan Wake, that actress was playing the character Saga Anderson. Fast forward to when Alan Wake 2 comes out, the character of Saga Anderson is now an African-American female. So at some point in the development, they cast a white lady, for the promo at least. So at the very least, they had it in their head that she was a white lady, then she became a black lady.
Okay, so this is what I'm trying to figure out here. Is the discussion like Sweet Baby Inc. had something to do with that, or is it like was a creative process where they were forced to change the character? Like, what's the
Sweet Baby Inc. was hired by the company Remedy, and so no one knows. That's the question. That's the question, right?
So the theory is that Sweet Baby Inc. had something to do with that change based on what they do. Okay, so here's my rebuttal to that. As I said before, number one, the character that was used in promos was not the character that was in the final game. So was somebody heavily invested in that teaser with that one character to the point where they were upset that the character was changed in the final game? Or is it quite possible that the creators decided that narratively it was more interesting to change the character from what they had before based on playthroughs and test plays and stuff like that to what we got in the final game? Because for me personally, again, it's what I buy, it's what I play at home that I make my decision on. And without
do you know who played do you know anything about Quantum Break?
Do I know anything about it?
The precursor game. The precursor game, it's by different companies, so like some of the rights don't go over and stuff like that. But nonetheless, do you know who the actor was that played her father?
Lance
Reddick.
Forget his name. Yeah, he died though before.
Well, yeah, he died. But I mean, you know, would it not? You're talking about artistic merit. I mean, like, would it not stand to reason that the character could be black, considering she's, you know, the daughter?
It could. Then why in the why if the teaser was a black?
It could have been. It could have been wrong.
We wouldn't be having this discussion.
It could have been that in an early, you know, teaser build or whatever the hell it was. That could have been a mistake, or they just, you know, whatever the hell. Like, it could have been wrong the first time, and then they corrected it. That's the thing. It could have been that, and then because based on what we know that Sweet Baby Inc. does, based on, you know, what they actually do, you know, more so than what we suspect they do, or what you suspect it is.
Isn't it though that like it's not her father? It's only like suspected to be her father though.
So that what Sweet Baby Inc. actually does is they go in and they make elements of diversity that were already there. They improve them. So it could have been that she wasn't black enough or something. I don't know. Like, and then Sweet Baby Inc. comes and says, "Well, look, her dad is a black guy." Like, you know, and let's.
But it's not confirmed that it's her dad.
Okay, so real quick, I think it's important to throw in here. The prevailing theory is that if it weren't for Sweet Baby Inc., Saga Anderson would have been portrayed by a white woman. Is that true? Kyle Rowley here answered it's absolutely not true. Do you know who Kyle Rowley is?
He's someone who works at Remedy.
He's the director of Alan Wake 2.
Yeah.
The director, well, it seems like an important role. And then Morgan has an excellent point here, because if a studio is not allowed to change their minds, because that's essentially what you're advocating for here, right? You're advocating that a studio can't change its mind for whatever reason, whether it's because what we do have evidence of is that they call out for this type of consulting, as all consultants do on all kinds of creative projects, and they look for it, they seek it out, they hire them. We don't have any evidence that they are being forced to do this, right? So like but so you're saying that they shouldn't do that, even if it is done on the up and up, they still shouldn't change it because that's censorship. But isn't that censorship?
No, that's not what I said. If it's done on the up and up, then there's no problem. We're not even having a discussion. Right? So if the four of us decide we're going to do a project together, and you're our boss, Dane, and we come up with this idea, then you tell us specifically, hey, I need you to add a woman to that project. I think that would be censorship. That would be a problem. But if we, by ourselves, came up with the idea and go, hey, we should add a woman to this because we want to make it a little more diverse, I think that's fine. And I know you're going to look up the definition of censorship, and it's not going to fall under the strictest terms of censorship.
Well, I mean, words mean things.
You know what I mean colloquially.
Well, then what do you mean literally then? If not colloquially, well, let's use the literal word then.
Literally, if you are forcing me to do something, that would be forced diversity, no? If you are literally forcing me to change or add something to the game that is diverse.
If there was any anything showing any kind of forcing being happening, then that would be sure, maybe. But like I keep going back to the credibility of that possibility being that 16 employees of this little company have somehow leveraged all this sway over the entire video games industry and has them pissing their pants in fear over being called
here's the problem. Here's the problem that I think that we're encountering here. You're saying 16 people, Sweet Baby Inc., as if Sweet Baby Inc. is the only company involved, is the only company offering consulting, is the only company that is connected to these people. There's other consulting firms, there's other companies. We've seen with the Zack Snyder stuff how it's really easy to fake a bunch of people online being mad about something, bots and stuff.
Well, I mean,
so to say that 16 people can't make some sort of noise on Twitter or something to make it seem like everybody's upset at you.
So I mentioned the Chunky Monkey thing earlier, actually. So I mentioned that earlier, and here's the thing about that. I'm sure you know about that, right, Tony? Chunky Monkey incident.
Yeah, I know all about it.
All right. So do you know what consequences I suffered from that? People who already didn't like me called me a racist for saying that, whereas people on the left, people who actually understand, what racism is and isn't, and listened to the context of what was said and understood that I was referencing Iron Man fucking 3, and that there is no established trope of calling black people a chunky monkey or anything, and that it was just an unfortunate, me fucking using the word monkey when really I should have been more mindful and didn't even think about it in terms of race. I was talking about his fucking weight. Okay. And nonetheless, nothing happened because I'm just well established as not being a fucking racist. You can look at any of my content and see that I'm actually anti-racist. So like the people that there's not really, people get called racist.
Do you think anyone actually thought you were racist for saying that?
If they didn't, then so are you saying that all the people that were saying that I was racist, they're just disingenuously trying to get me to cancel me? Is that what they were doing?
That would mean they were bad faith, by the way.
Yeah,
that's what.
Yeah,
that would be.
100%. They were.
Okay.
So you said it right, and so what it became was, now Dane said a thing that we can pin on him and go, look, see, you're an idiot.
Well, I mean, EFAP used that as the reason why they don't want to talk to me, because basically, like, they dismissed me with that shit. So, like, that's says something about them, I guess. Nonetheless, it's people get called racists. It's not the worst thing in the fucking world. It's like, if a company, a video game company, the multi-billion-dollar in some case video game companies can't handle being called racist online, then I don't know, man. They need to get out of public life and shit. Stop making video games. They get called
but as a
worse
person, it's easier for you to get. I am one person. I can easily show that I am not a racist. That's not a hard thing to do. And as you said, the people that don't like you already don't like you, and the people who like you would understand the faux pas you made. However, as a soulless entity, a company, it's really hard for the Disney company to go, look, the Disney company as a company is not racist, when you have a bunch of people screaming that they're racist because they did X, Y, or Z. That's why companies fear these kind of things, because it is harder for a company to show that they're not the thing that they're being accused of.
Disney is called racist all the time. Disney's still doing pretty okay, you know.
Okay, I used Disney as a word just so we can all understand on the same page. I didn't literally mean.
I wasn't even referencing what you said. I'm just talking about the fact that Disney being the most obvious, largest fucking, they own everything, and so like they get called racist. You know, they're called racist by people on the left. It's just like to act like this a company would bow down to this. You know, any one, two,
when you have
three
video
different
game
little
companies that
organizations-
are one game away from closing shop, I think you're a different scenario here. When you've invested all your money into a game, and if this game fails on any level, then your company's done. I think you're going to be a little more careful.
Insomniac is one game away from closing down.
You would believe it, but yeah.
Can I?
A lot of these companies are working on really thin margins and stuff.
All right.
I'd like to add something to what Tony said, because he actually said something a few minutes ago that we kind of moved past, that I don't think we've acknowledged how right he was, because he said something really remarkable about how if the four of us were on a video game development team and Dane's our boss and he wants us to put something in the game that's not our vision, in a certain sense that might be perceived as unfair. And I think he's actually kind of got a point, because if we're working for Dane, we didn't elect him. That's not democratic. Doesn't conform to my values as a red-blooded American who believes in democracy and freedom.
True.
But that would be a critique of corporations generally.
Yeah,
and I think once you go down that road,
right?
you're going to an interesting place, and I'll follow you. But
yeah,
I mean, the idea that's the case. I mean, the idea that Dane, that it's somehow fundamentally unfair if he's in charge of a company for him to make a decision for the people below him that they don't agree with. I mean, I kind of like, yeah, we should unionize. I'm sorry, Dane, but we should, you know, the four of us, we should unionize. I agree. But
and if it was me, Dane, and I was somehow in this position, I like to think that I would agree with you and say, yeah, let's unionize and let's do that. But of course, I would be a capitalist, and I would definitely fight that if I were actually in that position, because that's how these things go.
Well, obviously, there's more nuance to it. Obviously, Dane would hire us to do a specific project. There would be parameters to that project. But I think, as far as creative works, like if I hire Eric to paint my house, right? Hey, Eric, I need you to paint my house blue. I want you to paint it blue. And so that's the parameters, paint it. And he's out there painting it, listening to music. I go, I didn't hire you to listen to music. You go, well, you can't control what music I listen to. As long as the house gets painted, I've fulfilled the parameters of my job. So if the company goes, hey, I need you to make a new action-adventure game set in the 1980s Miami, and we give it to them, that should be it. That should be the end of where they get off and on, right? We've fulfilled your parameters. Now them going, oh, by the way, I need you to stick in a giant in there. Whoa, we don't want no giants in the game. Like this ain't a fantasy. No. Giants are really good. They're really big right now. Let's put a giant in there and some mechs. Put in some mechs in your game. And I'm like, it's not the vision we had when we were contracted to do this.
Then we would be doing contract work for Dane, not working necessarily full time like
most developers are contract workers.
But I think in that instance, right? If we're doing that, the idea that there would be no room in that for him to dictate what goes into the game if he's contracted us to make it, I don't know if I'm following your logic there.
Yeah, I mean, just to change it to a quick thing real quick, and then I want to be done with this because I'm freaking hungry, man. And like,
that's okay. Actually, sorry, I'm gonna cut you off one more time because that wasn't none of that.
No, you can't eat. You're not allowed.
I'm gonna be a totalitarian here.
Okay,
it's not a democracy. One more thing about the dead naming thing, because that's really why I got activated in chat. They call it dead naming because it's the name that they put in the paper when you die, when you're a trans person. It's a way of misgendering somebody that is also a final insult to their memory. So it's not, I've gone by other names that aren't my dead name, like I've come out and I've used different names as a transgender person. So the interesting thing is that if you were to call me by one of my other names, I'd have a very different response to that from being dead named. So that's why I felt that comment was disanalogous. Those are two things that have an element in one of them that makes it difficult to make the comparison functional.
Well, I think that's the closest comparison I could make. I don't think there's any other comparison that one could make versus this is my
I mean, we're
YouTube
comparing
name.
Dead naming to doxing. It like
I think a
one is
better
personal
comparison would
thing.
be like if you go into police protection and you get a new name from the government, and then somebody reveals that you have your old name is your new name. That's not a one-to-one either. But I think it's a bit closer than the transgender comparison, probably, because it's a question of like just purely isolating the real name element of it.
That is thank you for that context, because that is good to know. And yeah, it's I mean, I did actually learn the dead name thing from you, I believe, whenever we spoke not too long ago, that's actually why it's called that. And which is, pretty.
I know it kind of sounds like a melodramatic name for a concept, but it
I mean,
really
it's
does
pretty
have
literal,
a
I feel like.
history.
Yeah. So as for like the one other thing I was going to ask is verisimilitude in video games, immersion, right? Like I hear a lot of that, freaking, fucking pronouns, broke his immersion, right? You can't be immersed in a game whenever you're asked what your pronouns you want to use are, apparently.
Drop-down menus
also in the
do break immersion.
in the character creation screen, I guess he was wanting to be immersed in the character creation menu.
Well, he wasn't. Apparently, that was wrong. So what happened was he played the game, went back, and then the clip of him freaking out was later in the game, but it made it seem like it was at the.
Oh, okay. Well, nonetheless,
that's
he wasn't
actually
freaking out.
Tony. You're right about that, because it was the woman who's reveals that she's a clone, and there's like a whole plot behind that.
That was a whole performance he did. Nonetheless, so you talked about the pride flags in Spider-Man 2, right? That let's say that Sweet Baby Inc. did suggest that they have those in there. I just wonder if you've ever looked, like, Google, pride flags, New York City.
I'm sure they're all over the place. Again, that was a hypothetical to give you an example of how they
I'm just going based
indirectly,
growing up as if, like,
by
this is
writing
some
something.
thing, right? And also, it doesn't affect gameplay. It doesn't really affect the
I didn't say it did. Again, I was just saying how. I was showing an example of how a writer could write something that would indirectly affect the development of a game. That's all I was showing.
Well,
you could extrapolate that in any way you want. I was trying to give a real simple example of I wrote a scenario in which now a thing that wasn't there originally is now there. That's it.
But Tony, if Sweet Baby Inc. is being contracted to write, as they often are per some of the coverage that I've seen of this, if they're being contracted to write supplemental material for the game, then isn't that like the painting your house example that you brought up earlier, where they're being contracted and Sweet Baby Inc. is now allowed to write things for the game?
Yeah.
Yeah,
they are. And the problem, or I guess the problem, I'm putting quotation marks, maybe you can't hear them, but the problem is that people are saying that Sweet Baby Inc. is putting in woke stuff. I don't agree with all that.
You should respect their vision by your earlier logic.
I do. I don't have a problem with their vision.
But I mean,
again, my whole contention has always been, what are they doing?
And it's like I think it's fair. Can we get you to agree that you can't really justifiably use the word evils or say that they are contributing to some kind of evil plot or anything when you literally don't have a shred of evidence that that's actually happening? Can you acknowledge that?
Did I say evil plot?
In your video, you did say evils. The evils that they're doing, yeah.
Probably. I don't know, I say a lot of things.
Okay. Fair enough.
My bag is not at stake. I see Sketchy saying my bag's at stake. Look at my channel. I think I did one actual Sweet Baby Inc. video, and then the other one's a clip out from a stream that we were talking about it. That's it. That's not my bag. Eric July's my bag.
You should take it as a compliment that I even watched your video, because I'm not going to watch just any random fucking person's video on this subject. I was like, you know what? That's Tony. I know some of his takes, and they're not fucking terrible. I'm going to see what he says about this. You know what I mean? So like that's actually a bit of a compliment that I chose your video. So
speaking of the Spider Woman one, it was with DJ Eric that we went over, and we found out that the disabled Spider Woman was actually created by a fan, and before T. Franklin got a hold of it, and they were, Az and Eric were completely wrong about what they said.
Yeah, I mean, I covered that, like, that was my first video about fucking Eric July, was about that exact subject. So, yeah, I proved him wrong on about 15 different points in his, like, 10-minute video.
He's
You mean
really
he
dumb.
covered that before and he came back all the way around to that? Like,
Are you talking about Sun
Oh
Spider?
yeah, no, that's an old story.
Yeah.
Because
they've been wrong about it multiple
ago.
times. Yeah, they've been wrong about it multiple times. The people that watch their content aren't going to fact check them. So
I
doesn't
mean,
matter.
Sun
That's a big
Spider is
problem
from
on
a series
YouTube.
called Edge of the Spider-Verse too, and they do
Yeah.
wild Spider-Man in there. There's a T-Rex Spider-Man. There's all types of
Yeah.
wild variations on Spider-Man.
It's pretty
so like
crazy.
the disabled one is one of the more realistic ones by a decent margin. Right?
I mean, it's already been established. There's tons of disabled characters in the Marvel universe. So
Yes.
But I mean, try and get
Hawkeye.
fucking Eric July to even comprehend any of that, and he's just like,
I don't understand it.
Well, Eric July didn't even understand the end of Endgame. He was confused by old Captain America. So,
Wait,
No.
really?
yes, go look at. I think it's for canon's sake, either the first one or the second one, and he talks about being confused as to whether or not dude is coming back for the next movie. He's like, but he's old at the end of the movie. I don't understand. Is he going to come back as Captain America?
I hate to break up the party, but I have to go spin music for people, so I have to get out of here.
Understandable.
Thanks,
It's
Mr.
great to see
Monotone.
everybody. Great to be on stream with Chariot here.
Chariot, thank you for being on.
Yeah, thanks so much for
and
having
by the way,
me on.
is it it's this Friday? Yeah, this Friday. We're gonna have you on Live AF, right?
Oh
Or
yeah.
did we say
yeah.
Saturday? Shit, I forget.
Friday. I think we decided Friday.
Cool.
Yeah.
And Tony, good to have you on. And,
It was interesting. Don't forget, guys.
I hope-
if
I hope
you
you
if you
feel
if you
like-
want a non anti woke comic, if you want to own the chuds, then pick up Fabulous Frogman coming out soon. I got my own comic coming. It is completely anti chud. The chuds will be so owned if you buy my comic.
Yep.
And if you're here hate watching Dane, the woke will be so owned if you buy my comic.
there we go. There we go.
Because
Oh,
also
yeah.
anti woke.
You know what, man? I got some respect for open grifting. You know what I mean? Just like
Yeah.
That's
I gave a copy.
You're open about it.
DJ Eric read the script. He can tell you it is a decent comic. It's not anti anything. It's just a
From what I saw, it's just like a frog kicking ass. So I mean,
it's not going to get reviews like this.
Y'all really bought that shit butt ass comic book. I'm crying.
No. I'm curious to see what Tony's going to provide when it's all done. We'll see. We might review it. We'll do a EFAP on Tony's comic book.
We'll check it out.
Oh yeah.
All
I'll
right.
send you guys the digital.
Yeah, all the links are in the description, including Chariot. I don't believe Tony's is down there, but you can find him as the Geek Getaways over there doing his thing. He'll grift whichever way you want to go, baby. He's by Griftual.
Griftual?
We own all your enemies. Just give me a donation.
He's
and
pan
I'll own them.
Griftual. He's pan Griftual.
Pan Griftual, gotcha. All right. So and then check out Bob. Are you streaming tomorrow?
Yes, I'll do a stream. I know lots of people were missing the comic books last week. It's weird. My comic book videos don't do amazing, but like last week when the comic books were down, like everybody was like, "Hey, where are the comic books? Where are the comic books?" So we got comic books this week. I just got myself Ultimate X-Men #1 and Resurrection of Magneto #3, and then we're going to cover my favorite comic book of all time. We got World's Finest 25, and we got an indie comic, Return of Jake Sunrise. We're going to go over. So we got some cool stuff going.
And just don't use juxtaposition, Bob, because you used that like 16 times in your Wonder Woman video, and it was just wrong. Just used it wrong.
Hey, it's not my fault. He's really good at it.
But you were just using it incorrectly, and I was just
Were you using juxtaposition wrong, Bob? Jesus Christ, man.
See everyone later. I'm out.
No.
Bye.
All right, later, DJ. All right, guys. Please hit like and subscribe, whichever channel you're watching on, and then if you have time, if you feel like it, click on those other links down there. Hit subscribe on those, and I'll see you on Friday with Chariot. And peace.
Well, I'm built like a goddamn brick.